got the string.
Township Bulletin Board, the electronic message board, WCTV, and on the Township website. Please notify the municipal clerk for any disability requirements necessary for attendance at mayor and council meetings. The fire exits are located through the double doors to your right and through the door on your left. Please silence all cell phones. If you are unable to attend the council meeting in person and would like a topic to be addressed at a council meeting, please send email to the Township of Washington contact all council members at once, twpofwashington.us. Could everyone please stand for a salute to the flag? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Here.
Councilman Sears.
Here.
Councilman Oman.
Here.
Councilwoman Velez.
Here.
Council President DeSena.
Here. Let the record reflect also in attendance Mayor Calamari, Township Administrator Mark DiCarlo, Township Attorney Siobhan Bailey, and Township Clerk Susan Witkowski. Payment of bills, Resolution Number 24-302. Authorized payment of bills August 8, 2024 to August 29, 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
I just have questions about a few.
Go ahead, Mr. Holman.
On page 1 of the purchase order listing by PO, I guess that's the system run. The firehouse, we're still incurring professional service fees for this. And do we have a plan as to how much can we expect in additional billings?
Yes, even though the construction phase of the firehouse is complete, we're still incurring some engineering. This is specific as we question the integrity of the concrete that was there. So we've had several meetings as the September 23rd is our 2-year warranty is coming to a finish. So we've had several meetings with the architect, people of the fire department, representatives of the fire department and ambulance to assure any outstanding issues are done, any punch list items, anything that's come up now after operating in the building. And there was some pitting found in the concrete in the front. So Boswell Engineering is representing us, the township, as our engineers in coming to a conclusion as to whether the contractor will be at fault and have to replace it or not. That's where those bills are coming from.
Okay.
Are we still paying Boswell their monthly retainer, or that's
No.
not when Mr. Beckmeyer took over?
That's correct.
Thank you.
And then the first and second items, just, it looks like we're charging a ordinance from 2013 and a second ordinance from 2016. Are these related to those roads, or are we using it because it's just a generic road improvement and there's money in those ordinances?
But, with all due respect, I have explained this several times to the council. That first PO, that's regarding the 2023 road program. We were using lines that were funded, that were old and still had existing balance. Same thing with the second purchase order. Boswell Engineering is assisting us in getting our DOT reimbursement from the grant.
So if we're trying to get a grant, shouldn't that come out of current? Like, why are we, so we're charging an ordinance that we're going to be paying for how many years? It gets capitalized and there's a expense to carrying that. So my only question is that a prudent approach to, charge these types of fees to old ordinances because there's money in there when that money has a cost of carry and a cost of, using it?
So I know, Mr. Allman, we had talked about this on our previous lives on council of clearing up all the past ordinances and zeroing them out and sending the money back, or, paying off the debt with it. So maybe that's something we need to talk to Mr. Corker and Mr. DiCarlo and the mayor about, giving us a list of all the unencumbered balances on any old ordinances that are available and zeroing them out like we did a lot of them the last time we were up here.
You have been provided a list. You were provided that list during the budget times. And I respectfully remind the council, where do we think we're getting the money to do all the things we do in this township? It's because we have money in these old capital lines that we were prudent enough not to close out. Things just don't get done. We have to have funding for it.
See, I would argue differently.
Okay, duly noted. Thank you.
You know, I would argue that they were overcapitalized, and because there's money remaining doesn't mean we just should spend it.
Okay.
And it may be going towards a road program, but it's not going towards the road program that was approved in 2013. And if we needed these funds, that should be part of the budget process.
The ones that you denied, because we did ask for money for the 2024 road program, if you remember. So I'll just send the council, the residents, your guys' way, when they need their drainage done or the sinkholes done or all the catch basins. I'll just send them your way. I understand.
Thank you very much.
Anything else, Ms. Roman?
Those are the only three.
Any other discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. PSA for September 9, 2024. PSE&G is replacing existing electrical and gas meters with new smart meters throughout town as required by the BPU. Please be sure to respond to any letters requesting meter replacement. If you do not reply, your service is in jeopardy of being shut off. Please visit our website for further information. New OPRA request form. The new form must be used for any request going forward. Please note the addition of questions 2 and 3 in the top section, which has been added by the Government Records Council. All sections must be completed or your request will be deemed incomplete and be denied. Bulk pickup will take place this week, September 9th through the 13th of September. The Township of Washington's first annual Washington Wicked 5K Kids Fun Run will be held on Sunday, October 20th at 9 a.m. Fun starts at Gardner Field. Please visit our website for registration information. The Board of Elections is happy to announce they have joined with the New York Giants to conduct an event at MetLife Stadium to recruit poll workers, voter registrations, and mail-in ballot requests. The event will be held on Tuesday, September 24, 2024 at Giant Stadium, Lot G. There will be giveaways, meet and greets, and light refreshments. The 9/11 ceremony will be held at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, September 11th at the Township of Washington Memorial Monument. The memorial and observance will begin promptly at 6 p.m. Bergen County Satellite Office and Passport Outreach Services are coming to the Township of Washington on September 25th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Please visit our website for further information. Our annual flu clinic will be held on Wednesday, September 25th from noon to 1 p.m. at Town Hall. Pre-registration is required. Please visit our website for further details. Residents are encouraged to sign up for Nixle to be instantly informed of all community information. You choose the information you want with the addresses you want, all delivered at no cost by text message, email, and web. Please visit our website for sign-up information. The Kiwanis Club is a global organization of volunteers dedicated to improving the world one child and one community at a time. The Kiwanis Club of the Pascack Valley, formed for the Township and Westwood, meet on the second Wednesday of each month, 6:30 p.m. at the Westwood Community Center. If anyone would like more information, please contact Paul Ralph Garduli at 516-581-8319 or pascackvalleykiwanis@gmail.com. Our next council meeting will be held on Monday, September 23rd. Thank you, everyone. Report of the administrator.
Thank you, Council President, and good evening, everyone. This is my response from the township meeting on August 12th. Please just bear with me. There are some updates from when I authored this report on August 28th. First, council requested the DPW building plans to be sent to them again. They were sent to council. As of the date of this report, 28th, I have not received any questions from council. Council President DeSena did follow up with a question to me later in the month, and it was just regarding the architect's opinion on split face insulated block. All that information was passed on to the council. To summarize it, it was still recommended by our architect to stay with the brick for at least the slightly higher level of aesthetics, since the council chambers will be next to it and in front of the Borough Hall. If it was on its own site, the split and polished concrete block would be something to consider, but we also didn't think that there would be much of a cost savings there. Council requested if there was any way to expedite the approval of the NJDEP emergency permit for the stabilizing of sections of the Squapsing Brook. I discussed with Frank Rossi of Boswell Engineering. It would not be productive to work on a bid or specs, et cetera, until the NJDEP approves the permit. Mr. Rossi stated that he will work diligently with the appropriate professionals at NJDEP in attempts to expedite the update. The permit application is going to the DEP this week, most likely tomorrow. Certified letters were sent to property owners along the brook where anticipated work would be done. It's also going to be advertised in the Daily Record on Wednesday, and the clerk's office should be receiving certified mailing of the entire project document. So if anybody based on those advertisements wants to come in and review that paperwork, they can. Ms. Witkowski has been informed of that. Mr. Ullman requested the remaining balance of funds available for the ESB building. The remaining balance as of the date of this report is $79,617.05. Mr. Ullman requested to know the expense of healthcare claims made by employees since the effective date of July 1st, 2024 for the difference card. Just to remind council, a separate interest-bearing account was created and funded with $75,000 from our health benefits current budget line. The $75,000 amount is the cost of previous year's claims. That is just a starting point. The yearly claims may be higher or lower. The year-to-date July 1st, 24 to August 14, 24 claims total was $6,737.87. That amount has been deducted from the account bearing the $75,000. Updates: the resurfacing of Washington Ave, Ridgewood Road, west of Pascack Road and Van Emberg Road is anticipated to be completed by the end of September. This will include minimal concrete work for curbing associated with ADA ramp installation. I received an email today from the county that they're expecting to do the paving within 2 weeks. The drainage issues at the intersection of Amherst and Pascack have been remedied with the installation of a catch basin. The resurfacing of Calvin Road has been completed. This was done with the assistance of a New Jersey DOT grant. The concrete curbing repairs required at the county bridges on Pascack Road and Ridgewood Road were completed. I was informed by Recreation Coordinator Dan Scudieri that the batting cages are done at Sherry and Clark. Infield work has started at Sherry Field. There's 3 fields there for the infield rehab. From there, the apron and possibly the pavement, if the council approves that change order this evening, will then take place. The rehab will then take place at Clark Field, Gardner, and then Memorial Field. I was also informed today by PSE&G that McKinley Ave will be milled on October 2nd and paved on October 9th. Thank you, Council President. That's my report.
Thank you, Mr. DeCarlo. Report of the mayor?
Can I ask just a quick question?
Oh, sure, Mr. Owens.
Just with regard to the resurfacing,
Yes.
is there any, you note that there is minimal concrete work for curbing for the ADA ramps, which I know on Van Emberg were completed, but is there any opportunity to do any curbing on Van Emberg and I guess the western part of Washington up the hill?
The curbing would be the responsibility of the township, and that no curbing was taken into account, certainly not the funds for it. So the only curbing the county will do is when it's associated with the ADA ramps at the intersections.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. DeCarlo? Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Good evening, council members, members of the public. Good to see you all. I hope everyone had a safe and enjoyable summer. Now that school is back in session, please be mindful of children in and crossing our streets. Recreation news. The 2024 Introduction to Cheer program has started its 4th season. The children are enjoying the program immensely. Thank you to all those who volunteer to help out with this and the many other programs the town offers. The 2024 men's softball program season has ended. Congratulations to manager Brian Perez and his team Orange Crush on winning the championship. The 2024-2025 basketball season registration will be opening in early October. If you're interested in volunteering to coach, please contact Dan Scuderi. A background check for all volunteers 18 years of age and older is required. Please visit the recreation page on the town's website for more information about this program. Also, the 2024 fall registration for the Fun with Art and Fun with Cartooning programs is now open. You can register for these programs on Community Pass. Again, please visit the recreation page on the town website for information about the art programs. Police Department news. The department completed its active shooter training. They also hosted an active shooter presentation for Westwood High School administrators. Some of the members attended an Election Day safety meeting. 2 pieces of equipment were acquired via the 1033 program, saving the taxpayers money. Members also participated in a Cone with the Cop event that was held on August 29th. Fire Department news. For the month of August, the department responded to multiple fire and CO alarms, odors of gas, and 1 electrical odor from a dryer. The department also responded to the scene of a motor vehicle crash and 1 mutual aid call to Paramus for coverage during a working fire. This past month, the department hosted a boater safety course given by the U.S. Coast Guard auxiliary members. Any member operating the rescue boat will need to have this certification. Members have also drilled on the rescue boat as well as participating in a demonstration with their new airbag system. A few members have completed Fire 1 training at the Academy. I was also thrilled that the department finally got the picture-perfect day they deserve for their annual car show yesterday. I was able to attend the event, and it was so nice to see the attendance level so high. Congratulations to them on another successful event. DPW news. The next collection of household debris will be the week of September 9th. The next collection of metal and white goods will be September 19th. The DPW was involved with cleanups from multiple storms throughout the month. Tree canopies along roadways are being trimmed and elevated. Baseball and softball fields are being painted. Weekly painting of the football field began. School zones were painted prior to the school year beginning. Town properties and parks continue to be landscaped and maintained. Also, many catch basins have been inspected and repaired. Zoning office. The office was busy again last month reviewing and processing 50 zoning applications. I am so happy that many of our residents are making improvements to their properties. Library. What a summer. Thank you to all our residents for their patience and encouragement as they navigated construction work this summer. They were so thrilled to have such amazing participation in all of their programs and events. As of August 26th, they are still tallying the number of summer reading statistics, but so far over 40,000 minutes were read this summer by participants, with more paper logs still being turned in. Their upcoming fall session is bigger and better than ever, with special programs like a mozzarella making class, a teen wild robot event, a special Grandparents' Day event, family crafts, and so much more. The annual Mum Sale fundraiser will be held on Saturday, September 21st from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. This year, the event is walk-up, so no orders will be taken ahead of time. Payment options will be cash or check. October is Italian American Heritage Month, and the library is looking for families to loan items for their glass display. If you would be willing to loan something from your family's Italian experience, please reach out to Library Director Laura Rifkin. Disabilities Grant. The special needs programming has been very well received. The adult music classes are almost full. Special events at Paramus Mini Golf and our local Township Theater are also seeing great responses. Our special needs theater/improv classes will start in September. Municipal Alliance. The Municipal Alliance program is thrilled to share that public speaker Tim Schumacher will be the Week of Respect presenter at Westwood Regional High School this fall. He will cover both mental health and addiction in his program, with the underlying theme being respect yourself and others. The program will take place on October 10th. This will cover approximately 800 students, 50 staff members, and parents of students in grades 6 through 12 will be invited to attend the evening program. Town Day will be held on October 5th, with the 6th as a rain date. I thank the committee members for their hard work and dedication to this large-scale town event. Just a few of the day's activities are a pie eating contest for children and the second tug of war event between our finest and our bravest organizations. And to repeat one thing that was in the PSA, our annual 9/11 memorial ceremony will take place 6 p.m. here on 9/11 at Town Hall out in front, weather permitting, which it looks like it should. I hope you can join us for this solemn remembrance. That completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Report of the council, Ms. Velez.
Yes, thank you. So we're going to start off with the August Wellness Series that took place during the month of August. Thank you to all who participated. We shared lots of laughs and fun. A big thank you to Megan DePirio for volunteering her time to bring us yoga. And thank you to Bethany Community Center for hosting our Thursday night Zumba with Miss Jenny. I was able to attend Cone with a Cop. It was so nice to see many residents and the kids engaged with our officers. I know my daughters had a great time enjoying a nice ice cream on a hot evening. So a great job by the police department. And to repeat the PSA in regards to Washington's Wicked 5K and Kids Fun Run, this will be taking place on Sunday, October 20th. It starts, the 5K kicks off at 9 a.m. and the fun run at 10:15. All the details are available on the town website. T-shirts are only guaranteed to participants registered by 10/1. Opportunity for sponsorship is still available, and as always, we are still in need of volunteers. So if you are looking to have fun with our little ones and our young at heart, please join us on Sunday, October 20th as a volunteer or participants. And to our residents along the course, Ridgewood Boulevard North, Hoover, Jackson, Manhattan, and West Place, let's get those Halloween decorations up and going. And a big thank you to the mayor, Councilman Sears, the administrator, and his office for really helping me put all this together. And as the mayor said, on Wednesday, it is 9/11. Last year, the attendance was a little thin. So if we could really make a point to come out and be there together during this important day in our country, I'd love to see more residents attend. And that is all. Thank you.
Ms. Velez. Mr. Sears?
Thank you, Council President. The Green Team is meeting tomorrow at the library at 11 a.m. to plan out our fall cleaning and fall projects. I worked with Lisa Lee on from Easy Ride. We applied for a EV grant. It was a 2-hour Zoom meeting and then another hour of paperwork. We entered the paperwork for the grant, and we had to complete a town-wide survey of the locations and the processes of what we're going to do with it. I just got word today that we have received the Silver Award for our process, and that will now put us in, the next step is for the grants. So the town has received the Silver Award on our projects on placing EV chargers in the township.
Where would we be placing these, Mr. Sears?
I have 2 locations. One will be up here in our parking lot, and the other one, I'm talking to the shopping center to see if we can apply, put one down in there. And we'll be discussing the issues with that, probably at a closed session. Okay. The next step to that is the awards money grant, and I will be with Lisa Lee next week, coming up with our next process on how much we should ask or what they plan to give us, but let me put it that way. Our forestry certification will be ending up this year. I need to retake the course training at Rutgers. Dan Scuderi, myself, and it was Art Cummings. So I'm going to need one person to join us, getting our certification for the next 5 years. That will carry us under all the state laws for trees, forestry, and allow us to get involved with more tree planting. Again, the township has received the Gold Standard Safe Street Awards this year. There will be a ceremony down in Rutgers, and I believe the mayor and myself will be going down there for this. The green team planted 30 Jolly Green Giants down at Sherry Field. We put it right along the roadway. It really looks nice. We received a lot of thank you for sprucing up the property. On the VFW news, the VFW will again be offering the Patriots Pen and Voice of Democracy grants to the high school. The VFW will be offering a $500 grant, a $300 a grant, and a $100. If they finish through our process and go on to the district and to the state, they can receive up to $35,000 if they're awarded. So we will be handing out those certificates and the paperwork to the schools this week. We're always looking for new members to join the VFW. Please reach out to me. Our Veterans Guitar Program is starting up again this week. We have added 4 new veterans to our group. So it starts tomorrow, Tuesday at 4:30 at Bethany Community Center. I hope everybody has seen the Montclair State Student Project for Stormwater Management. One issue that they pointed out was water basins. Please don't blow your leaves into the water basins or your grass clippings. Please, if you see it clogged, call the DPW. Working to remove target hazardous trees. The school is back in session. All drivers need to slow down, and all kids need to wear helmets when they're riding their bikes. There's too many riding in the township without helmets. And I want to welcome the new business in town. I believe there's 2. Will be one is a T-shirt, and I think UPS will also be moving into the shopping center. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Sears. Mr. Cassia?
Sure. Thank you, Council President. I'll keep mine very brief. Again, school is in session. Please be careful, especially at dusk and dawn. As you know, the sun is setting earlier and it's rising earlier, and we're on the roads a little bit earlier getting to work since summer's over. And, you know, the glare from that sun can be really detrimental to your vision while you're driving. So please use your sun visors and your sunglasses. The other thing I want you to be aware of, and I'm sure everyone is a lot of wildlife, especially deer at this time of year. They're all over the place. It seems like their only natural predator these days are cars. I mean, last night I was driving home, and I must have seen about probably 10 deer. Okay, so please be extra careful. We want to keep them alive, I guess, and we don't want the DPW having to pick that stuff up. Other than that, it's the start of a new fall season for everyone. I know everyone was on vacation, and you think that the government doesn't function during the long break, but we're all active doing things at this point. And there's a lot of things on the plates of the council and the administration, and we're working diligently to make those things happen at a reasonable cost to you. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Kessler. Mr. Allman?
Yeah, just before I start, Mr. Sears, the basins, keeping them clear, would we want to consider an ordinance? I think we have an ordinance for fire hydrants for snow.
So we have an ordinance that says you can't put leaves or any debris within 10 feet
of it on
of
either
a basin.
side.
But to keep them clear, I mean, is that,
Well, it does say,
That's the ordinance.
the ordinance
10
says
feet.
keep debris 10 feet and keep the
Yes,
basin
but
clear.
if it rains and it gets into the catch basin,
I think the rub might be, is the fire hydrant is on the actual people's property, not in the street. The catch basins, as we know, are in the street. So that might be some reason why we can't put that in an ordinance that it has to. We appreciate residents if they can keep them clean, but I don't think we can mandate, since it's in the street, for residents to be responsible for it. But I would defer to the town attorney if she wants to comment on that.
I don't have a comment on that.
We don't have a comment this time?
All right. So,
And I think that's also true of a county road as well. We can't mandate what goes on a county road like, Pascack, Ridgewood Road, Washington, Van Emberg. So we can look into that.
I will. I'm just thinking of a technicality. I know that the homeowners do own a certain portion of the strip, but I think practically and where I would come out is that you probably can't mandate that, but I will take a look at that.
Well, as a good citizen, it should be done.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
If you don't want the front of your house to flood, you should do it.
That's, yeah, well,
That's
what
part
happens.
of the Montclair State thing,
Yeah,
you know.
saying, hey, clean up.
If it's in front of your house, take a look.
Yeah, just take a quick.
Own it
Yeah.
like a piece of property.
Yeah.
If you see it clogged,
Call us or clean it up.
call it or go on the web and put in a complaint and you have a paper trail of it.
thanks. I just have a couple of quick comments. One is Mayor Calamari wrote a letter to the editor recently regarding the road program. And Mr. DiCarlo reminded us this evening that, there was no road program approved for 2024. I think that there was an expectation that there would be a program for 2024. On the last day of the planning process after midnight, I believe, after a 5-hour session, the council was updated on an emergent issue in the Musqueam Brook River that required immediate attention. In addition to the immediate attention, it required funding in excess of $700,000. So there was a decision made at that meeting to forego the road program, which typically was funded around that amount, and use that fund for the remediation. Ordinance 24-10 was passed by the council, funded that or approved that $700,000 in addition to others for that emergency work. And Mr. DiCarlo updated us this evening on the progress of that. So you are quite correct, Mr. DiCarlo, and you are quite correct, Mayor Calamari. We did, or the council as a whole did not approve funding of the road program. There was a split on the dais, but it was not funded. So if people are wondering why, I think that would be one reason why. The other thing I would like to do is ask Ms. Bailey about voting in a while council is not in session, or requesting a vote on an action via email. Because I don't know, I've always been told that votes have to be taken in person, that the actions should be discussed in a public meeting unless it is excluded and it's within a closed session. But even that is, regulated. So I'm just trying to understand, when we receive an email requesting an action, what are we supposed to do? And what's going on here? Is that appropriate?
Well, certainly, I'm not familiar with what email has been sent asking you to take action. That would be very unusual because you have to comply with the Open Public Meetings Act. Obviously, any action taken by the council, any deliberation of a matter by the council, even without an action taken, has to be on notice to the public.
Okay.
So that is why you see Sue send around, please don't reply all. If she's sending information packets, if she's sending information, please do not reply all, because she is trying to discourage the very act that is barred by the Open Public Meetings Act, deliberation of something that has to be properly noticed by the council and taking any action.
Okay,
You mentioned closed session. No action can be taken in closed session.
okay, so,
Whether or not the Open Public Meetings Act is complied with, and if there is a special circumstance, whether it's if there's an emergent situation, whether or not an email vote, if the proper notice has been given, can be taken, that is something I would have to look further into, and I can provide that answer to you.
okay, so can you specifically look at an email dated 8/14 sent by Mr. DiCarlo for 450, the subject is 450 Pascack Road. I believe you're copied on that. And then the follow-up from Mayor Calamari on 8/19, where he questioned why a response wasn't given to him. I interpret that as a vote, wanting direction on how to proceed. So I guess I'm just trying to understand what is appropriate here, and are we, within the letter and intent of the law? Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Holman?
That would be it.
Thank you. I think everything has been discussed at this point that would have been included in my very quick response. Mr. Mayor, I just had one quick question. Mr. Mayor, what did we acquire with the 1033 acquisitions?
I don't have the specific list. I was just told by the department in their report that they acquired 2 pieces. I can find that out for you.
All right, if you could let
Sorry, I know the
Oh, okay.
Mr. DeCarlo.
I don't know what the rate is, like those 4-wheel vehicles that they were used, remember we told you in our capital plan that if they didn't find them in 1033, we may have to ask for money in capital. We're relieved of that answer.
So it's like those John Deere Gator vehicles, like the whole trickle car we have outside?
Yeah, exactly.
So we got 2 of those?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not sure we actually have the second one in possession.
But the intent is to get 2.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor appointments for director with advice and consent to council. Appointment of Director of Public Affairs and Information. Council resolution of consent to director. Resolution number 24-203. Appointment of Director of Public Affairs. Yes.
May the mayor read his appointment?
Oh, I'm sorry. Mike, I'm rushing. Sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Quite all right. Council, please be advised that I am hereby appointing the following person to the office and position listed below, subject to your advice and consent. The Director of Public Affairs and Information to Sasha Lopez, term expiring December 31st, 2025. Thank you.
Have we changed it? What wasn't the previous when Ms. Velez wasn't she just the Director of Public Affairs, or was it always Public Affairs and Information?
It's grown into that because it is
Okay.
information.
I have a question, if I
Yes,
may.
Mr. Sears.
She's giving up her other position for the director's position? Is this what this is?
No,
So she's
maintain
keeping
both
both?
positions.
It's really 3 positions.
Can you do that?
She's holding
Well,
all
I-
3 positions
Can
then,
you do
right?
the director?
I mean, I count
Well-
2, but
This director
Well, there
will
was
be
2,
making,
there was 2 positions in the budget that she is capturing both right now because there's nobody else to fill them, correct?
no, I think she's the assistant.
there's the assistant, and there's this one potentially is the only one I'm aware of.
So she's making $9,800 for a director's position. And the,
No, she.
well, it's 8,000 for the assistant.
Yeah, in total between the 2, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Do we have to advise her to
I
have
thought she
this
was
discussion?
giving up this other position.
You're not talking about her performance, at least that I know of, so I don't
No.
believe so.
Ms. Bailey, do we have the right to her to talk about this?
Not
Is there
if
any
we're
indication other than
discussing
law,
it.
because it
We're not
has to
discussing
be
it
the
adverse.
director,
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
director
We
or
start to
the
get there.
we can't talk about it?
No, we could talk about it as long as it's not adverse. We're discussing her performance. We're just talking
no.
about
Oh, all right.
stipends and, I'm sorry, what do we call them?
Okay.
What are they? Director stipends, right?
Director
Director
stipend.
stipends or director salaries? That's all we're talking about.
So
So
my,
go ahead, Mr. Sears. I know you're,
No, I mean, I thought she was taking on the director's position and She can't be an assistant to herself. That's what's baffling me.
Well, she can, and as a matter of fact, we have that in the tax assessor's office. If you recall, when our latest tax assessor came on, she agreed to be her own assistant, and so there is a precedent for it. And yeah, she can ably do both jobs, in my opinion, I think, and many of the people who work on the committees with her.
Was anyone else considered for this position?
I've been putting word out for months about it.
So the position, as you know, I resigned on July 1st, 2023. So the position's been open for 14 months. Nobody wants that position because of the amount of work that it takes. And as a result, a lot of the events have suffered throughout the last 14 months. So it really is, you know, I've seen her in action, and we need somebody to fill the spot, at least temporarily, until somebody. But the reality is the amount of work that this position requires, it just financially doesn't make sense for a lot of people. Hence the vacancy for so many months. You have to love your town, basically.
Here's my take on it. We only have one director by statute that can be a director and work in that department. That's the Department of Law. There is no other. So why are we changing this one or any other one where that occurs? So I advise you to look at the statute, how it reads, because it's hard to be the director of yourself, okay? Because you hold that special position, Ms. Bailey, as the counsel and as the director of law, and stipulated by state statute. It doesn't stipulate that anywhere else. I don't think there's another director in town that has that one, unless I'm incorrect.
I'm going to push back some and say, just because it does not say it, does not mean it is not permitted. It's not meant to cover every circumstance. It specifically covers it in the Director of Finance because there could be a perceived conflict there. But just because it doesn't say it here, I respectfully disagree with you that doesn't mean it can't happen.
I disagree as well with you, so let's disagree and disagree.
Any other discussion on this?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I did. I directed and assisted myself. So the ability and the reality of that happening is 100%. Because I directed the events and had to, you know, execute alone with no assistance, only volunteers, which you can only ask so much of your volunteers. So,
But they did a bulk of the
practice-
work, did they not?
No, they did not. They were day of volunteers.
That's not true.
Well, they attended meetings.
Well, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
yes,
they
we
attended
attended
meetings,
meetings.
you had members that went out and got bids for shirts, and
Yeah.
they did schedules, so.
But I think, Mrs. Velez, I think when you were the director, you did this as a true citizen of the township and didn't take a salary for it.
Well, there was no assistant position.
That's what I'm saying. You did it like a lot of us volunteers do in town.
But
You
when
did
I
it
took
for the betterment of our township. Now there's a salary involved that people are earning to have this position. When you did it, you did get the $1,800. Oh, it was less. I know it wasn't 1,800. It was
1,200.
1,250 until they raised it when you got out, right? But I think it's a different scenario now.
But during that time period, there was only 5 events. Now there are summer concerts that were added. There were the Halloween that didn't happen last year because there was no director. There was no
What do you mean Halloween didn't happen last year?
the home decorating didn't happen. The holiday home decorating didn't happen. The summer movies didn't happen. A lot of other things did not happen because there was no director. So all that was added as I came on and continued to grow that department. Now, to clarify, yes, the volunteers do a lot, and I'm incredibly grateful for them. But when you're talking about all the emails and the phone calls and the vendors and the banners and all that, that is the assistant, which was me. So yes, we had people that did T-shirts, But sponsorships, seeking sponsorships, there were some people that were much more active than others. But I would say that the bulk of the responsibility fell on the assistant, which was also the director, which was me. I speak because I was in the
But
thick of
what,
it.
but I mean, in the past, this, you know, we had Town Day, we had concerts.
No.
Yes, we did.
The fire department.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but the
But
town
it-
had fire, but we had concerts,
But
right?
the public,
But
it fell to
because-
public affairs a
But-
few years ago.
I understand, but why that happened, I don't know the answer to that. But we had these events and they were true volunteer events. Like, you know, Town Day was run by a committee of volunteers. And, you know, and we have and a lot of lifelong residents that I don't see their faces anymore. So I've always wondered what happened there because they're lifelong residents of the township and they're not volunteering their time at these events anymore. So I don't know what happened because it's sad to see those people not there.
But
But-
Town Day in 2013 and Town Day in 2022 are worlds apart. So, I mean, just, you can look at the bills themselves.
Oh.
And the sponsorship that came in because it grew so much,
True.
right? Because of the
But
support
I
of
think
the
we're-
council that
but-
gave that.
But we're in a
Yeah.
different, I think, you know, things were different in 2013 versus 2022, you know.
I
other-
can only
yeah.
speak to what gets.
But I think, you know, there's a lot of volunteers out there that have spent, you know, countless hours, thankless hours. And, you know, I don't think we should ever, you know, say that they didn't volunteer because they absolutely did, because
So
Well, I'm not
they're
saying
not
that.
thankless hours. We thank them all the time, and they know it's appreciated, so they are not thankless hours.
Well,
I take exception with that.
you could take a step, but I'm saying, I didn't mean it in a derogatory manner, Mr. Mayor. So don't
You
make it.
said thankless.
I
Own your words for a
misspoke. I always own my words. I'm not sending out disinformation. I made an error, and I
I'm
said,
correcting your error.
you don't need to. I'm an adult, just like you are. You get your turn to speak. I'll take my turn to speak.
I'm
So-
asking
so-
for this appointment, so I feel I
so-
can speak.
What's that?
I'm asking for this appointment, so I feel I can speak.
You made your appointment, and we're
Oh,
taking this.
so you're
for a vote.
silencing me again.
I
Yet
am
again.
not. Did I say to
Yeah,
keep
you
quiet?
just told me to keep quiet.
I said let me talk. You're putting words in my mouth
Mike,
again.
you let every other council member jump in when they want to. You want to hold me to a different standard?
It's
Go
our
right ahead,
meeting.
just admit it.
It's our meeting, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, you want to hold me to a different standard? Just
It
admit
is
it.
not your meeting
You're holding me to a different standard.
because it is not your meeting. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now I know.
Any other discussion on advice and consent of the mayor for the public affairs
Yeah,
and information appointment?
I have a
I
question.
do also once Steve is done.
So what's happening here is that we have a director, we want to appoint a director, and apparently that, the way I'm reading it, so the more things that this director does in this particular division of the town, the more they'll get paid because they're doing more now. So if we hold another 20 events, is that going to go up? That's my question. Because we're saying they're getting paid as an assistant because we're doing a lot more things. So if we do double that, are we going to have to double the salary?
I will come to you when that time, if and when it comes.
Or the
Wasn't dir-
department needs
wasn't
more
directed.
people.
I control the salaries.
You control the salaries?
Yeah, so I consider that question was toward me.
Okay, we'll see how you control it. Okay.
Yep.
Well, I mean, my based on your comment, Councilman Cassio, if a department grows, then you just need more employees. So whether it's one person making 8 or 2 making 4,
Mhm.
I mean, then that would be, I think, the right call. If the department's growing, then you need the manpower.
But I think we're losing sight of what this is. These
But
are
I-
volunteer events. Like these
But
are
nobody's
things.
volunteering.
But why aren't they volunteer?
Well, I mean, I don't see you out there signing people up. I make phone calls.
Has anybody ever asked me? Was I asked about any?
Volunteers don't get asked, they volunteer,
I ask at every meeting for volunteers for
as
events.
do I.
You are correct.
And it is on the township website as well. So
But what happened to the solid core of volunteers
their kids grow up
okay, that's an answer.
and then they move on and then we hope to get another, group of parents, but as we all know, everybody's busier and busier because of demands of life. So the reality is that these positions go vacant. And it's not, listen, it's been 14 months since somebody filled that spot. And I've asked and I've spoken and I've presented people.
Okay.
and-
Well, I'm sorry, Daisy.
No, it's just, it's not for lack of trying. Like,
That's fine.
And I understand. So if there's a lack of interest of volunteering, okay, that tells me there's a lack of interest, period. So why would we push programs if there's a lack of volunteers and interest? It's not supposed to be something that the town has to provide, okay? It's a luxury.
I disagree with you.
Well,
We pay taxes. and
we pay a lot of
This
taxes.
is a family growing town.
Yeah, that's
We
correct.
want to draw families.
Mhm.
And what draws family? Things that bring community together. Why would I move into a community where there are no children and nothing for my children? This is a community of
Okay.
family. So yeah, let's offer these opportunities for our kids to engage with, maybe they go to Washington school, but they want to befriend somebody at George school. Let's give them these opportunities. So I disagree with you entirely.
No,
And
that's
the
okay.
reality is that's the adults want it, the parents want it, but nobody wants to show up. And the people that complain the most are the ones that volunteer the least. That's the truth. So if we can't get the volunteers, there are people on the committee who we've asked, hey, do you want to take the director position? Would you be interested? No. They just like a
Okay.
little bit. Because they have a little time to give, but not this much time to give. So when you finally have somebody that's willing to give so much of their time, then, you're compensating them with gas money, truthfully. I mean, that's what it ended up being for me. I can't even tell you how many dollars I dropped and I never got compensated for. But like you said, I did it out of love, right, for my community. But, something's got to give eventually.
Oh, okay.
So, and you finally have somebody that's willing to give. So let's recognize them. If not, the position would have been filled 2 months after I resigned. But here we are 14 months later.
Not for discussion tonight, but perhaps we could do some type of survey of the residents, I don't know, email or physical mail, but it just seems that, we are, middle class, upper middle class town. People's families' priorities have changed. Instead of going to a swim club, now they have beach homes. Instead of going to the swim club, they go to Europe for the summer. I mean, it's a reality of the town we live in. And, if we can't get volunteers, and I agree with you, Ms. Velez, that it is great for the town to have these events. It brings a sense of community. But if there's no appetite for people to volunteer and the participation is, transactional at best, do we say we're not doing it anymore? And focus on 2 or 3 large events and move on. And I don't know if that's the right answer, but, is that a potential option? Town Day and the tree lighting and a 5K and, that's our, recreation, public outreach agenda. I don't know. But, if we survey and, to your point, people, are not volunteering. They want the benefit of it, but they're not volunteering. So, perhaps.
And that's a harsh reality, unfortunately, that, they want the events, but they don't want to volunteer. And every time I go to any little function at somebody's house, I'm like, hey, we're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers. Barbecues, this, that, and the other. Trying to recruit people, right? But you know what? The only part of your statement, Councilman Ullman, is we as representatives of the community, we have to offer these opportunities for our members in order to keep community going.
right? I feel it is our duty to continue to offer opportunities for residents to continue to fuse a relationship so that their kids stay in township and their kids stay in township, and it continues to grow. So we have generational families in this town. You know, like the Calamaris themselves, they've been here, right? They love the town, right? There's so many people that have been here generationally. So there's got to be something, and it's our responsibility to keep fostering those opportunities.
Okay.
Mike, may I have the floor for a minute on this?
Can you turn your mic back on, please, Daisy? I'm getting emails. I'm getting texts. Yes.
Well, that, and I didn't get her.
Yeah, I just got the text saying, please tell Daisy to turn on her microphone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Sears, Councilwoman Velez, you've been at the past few meetings for Fall Festival. Sasha has led those meetings. I think the committee has her respect. I think she has earned it. I'm hoping you can agree to that this evening. I think it's a shame that this position has been open for over a year. We have one person who expresses an interest, and instead of thanking her, we're here looking to criticize this person for every little reason, like, oh, the director should not supervise themselves. You know, come on, this is, you know, it's not like she's controlling money in the town or anything like that. It's, you know, she can take the lead and she can help herself in the process. You know, as it's been said, we don't have a lot of people who can volunteer the time it needs to do these functions of the public affairs director and to assist to get these events off the ground. We get extremely good turnout at most of these events. So, you know, we're again, nitpicking between these two positions, less than $10,000. You know, if you don't approve her, I don't know what's going to happen to the town events, because no one else has stepped up in over a year. We have a person who's willing to. You know, let's treat her with the respect she deserves for wanting to step up and make our town a better place. And yeah, if that comes with a little bit more money, I'm all in favor of it. You know, we all collect money and, you know, for doing what we do up here. And, you know, so I think she's entitled to the position because she's asked for it and the money that goes along with it to keep our town, you know, with these events. So I appreciate your consideration before you vote. Thank you.
Council President?
Yes, Mr. Sears.
I don't think there was no disrespect to this person that wants the position. My point of view is we had a problem with the CFO when he was going to be his director, and it was an endless battle. Then we had the same problem with the town attorney when he was that, and it was an endless battle. Now we have a third person coming into a position with the same scenario. There's no disrespect to her. I've sat on the committee with her, watched the process. I'm telling you, a lot of the volunteers do a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
She may be the director at the top saying topics, you know, but my concern is that I don't want to open up this Pandora's box that now we have another director in another position reporting to the director that's watching himself. We went through that CFO scenario. It was a nightmare. And that's you know, yes, she does a lot of work, no doubt in her mind, but the volunteers do a chunk of the work. And no disrespect to her. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. But, yes, Mr. Owen.
What does by being appointed director, what additional powers or influence will she have over her current role?
May I answer that, Council President?
Go ahead.
Well, as you know, her current role is assistant. So she is assistant specifically to the director. Without a director, I don't know who she will assist because there will be no one at a high level to do what the director does as far as planning these events and needing someone underneath them to do all the things that, respectfully, we don't put on our volunteers every minute thing that has to get done, because we we honor our volunteers' time, and, we don't want to abuse it where we turn them off. And so that's what the assistant does, is a lot of the things that, making sure insurance certificates are filled out, going out and, getting the best deal they can from vendors. And so I think I've answered your question.
So my only comment here would be the same as the current situation in the finance and the director of finance, that it's an employee director. And, I feel that employee directors should not receive the stipend. So if the individual, warrants, if the role expands with this, then, perhaps the salary needs to be reevaluated. But in terms of the director to employee relation, or the employee director, I would have the same opinion.
Okay. Just a reminder about the finance director. In addition to supervising the CFO department, he is also charged, the director is charged with supervising other departments. So it's not just his department, it's other departments also. Doesn't fit this bill, but since you brought it up, I just wanted to remind everyone that the person in that position would not be just supervising himself. He would be supervising other departments. I've said what I said. What I've said. I hope you can see fit to appointing her so it doesn't disrupt our town events.
Thank you. So just a quick note. There's no disrespect to anybody at all. Volunteerism is something that is missing. And it's sometimes it's missing because of the leadership that's there drives our volunteers away, right? So when people say I'm not volunteering enough, I volunteer countless hours as a president of Little League and softball, and I spend many nights away from my family to deal with business for the Little League, and I don't have a problem with that. That's what it's about, right? We don't always have to let the public know all the hours we spend. Those are the thankless hours I'm talking about, Mr. Mayor. I'm up till 2:00 in the morning sometimes doing registration, right? Nobody needs to thank me that. I enjoy doing that, right? It makes me happy. It makes me happy that my father taught me, what it meant to be a good person and to give back to our community, right? Because he was a hard worker. He was a welding foreman. He'd spend 8 hours in a 110-degree tank welding, and he'd come home and make time for our youth sports and for his boys and his family, right? I sit behind an office, so I have no problem giving back time. And I don't need anybody to thank me for doing that time. And that's what I meant by that comment. So for you to jump down my throat and tell me what I said is totally not correct. And I just want to make sure that all the volunteers from when Ms. Sopwith started Town Day are thanked, because they did a wonderful job all those years. Even though it wasn't as large as it is today, like you said, Ms. Velez, it was still Town Day, and it was appreciated. And all the events that we do, even when the fire department ran the concerts, is appreciated. And all our volunteers and all our boards are appreciated, right? That's what it's about, all right? And all I'm saying is, volunteerism is not to be, to take credit for everything that goes on for this town. It's to do it behind the scenes and make sure things happen for our residents. And sometimes that's a bigger volunteer, and those are the people we don't see, and those are the truly unappreciated people. And I'll leave it at that. So for moving forward, we have a council resolution of consent to director. Resolution number 20, yes.
Just one quick question.
Yes.
The last question, hopefully you can vote on this. So I will ask the mayor, are we going to be looking for another assistant to the director in the future? Another position?
Why would I?
I'm asking. I don't know. Why would you? So apparently, the way I'm looking at this, right now, we don't have a director and we have an assistant who wants to be director, right?
Correct.
And we're compensating her to be the director plus being the assistant to herself, correct?
That's what we're asking for tonight, guys.
Correct, that's what you're asking for. So my question is there ever going to be, is there going to be a time where we're going to separate that from the directorship to another person? So she'll be a true director, and then we'll have someone under her to direct, for her to direct.
You're asking me to speculate on something that I'm not willing to speculate on.
Okay, so you're indecisive. I get it. Okay.
No, I'm not
That was my
indecisive.
question. That was indecision.
Okay.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, I mean, if somebody would have said yes to this position by now, we wouldn't be in this boat.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
So,
okay. Resolution number 24-203, appointment of Director of Public Affairs and Information, Sasha Lopez. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
second,
Roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
yes.
Council President DeSantis.
Yes. Mayor appointments. Mr. Mayor?
I just want to thank you all. You know, we get heated up here once in a while, but, you know, I'm truly glad for the town and for the volunteers that this decision was made by the council. So I thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart, sincerely.
Your appointments, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, thank you. Yes, we have special law enforcement officers being appointed this evening. Special Law Enforcement Officer, Class 3, Nicholas Copolaccia, John DiGeronimo, and Brian Meltzer. Special Law Enforcement, Class 2, full-time, Stephen Rydell Jr. I'm sorry, all those effective dates are as of 9/1/24. Then we have School Crossing Guards Regular, Angela Boccia, Joseph Boccia, James Mahalish, John Walsh, Anush Yanokian, and Scott Zwane, all for the school year 24 to 25. And then we have 2 crossing guard substitutes, Ron Camporal and Danielle Ficker, same for this school year 2024, 2025.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to open the public meeting comment of the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would anybody like to come up and address the council? Yes, you may.
Five minutes, right?
5 minutes. We have a clock up here. No.
Awesome.
I'm not, you know.
So first, I want to say thank you to everyone up there. I know I have to give my name. I'm Andrew McKenna. I'm a township resident. But I
Good
want to
evening,
thank,
Mr. McKenna.
of course, I want to thank all of you for your time, your dedication, and your support for this great town that we live in. We moved here in 2017, and I started my first day with a request. Hey, there's no street sign on Howard Street. My in-laws get lost. Mayor Sopowicz picked that up. She gave me a call, and the next day the DPW showed up and put up a sign. So darn good service from at day one. Sue, before I get into what I actually want to talk about, I want to thank you because you're an all-star. Every time I call, you help. I thrown a suggestion to council a couple years ago of, that's right.
Thank you.
I throw in a suggestion to council to let the residents know when street sweepers are going to show up, because otherwise they're just sweeping the middle of town. Sue, somehow that gets on the internet, and we all know about it now, and my street is clean curb to curb. So I'm starting with a big thank you, because all of you are dedicated, love this town, and really push things forward. One very much side note, the calendar listings on the website, if you click on them, it says this is still virtual or hybrid. It's not. So some language changes might be good. I'm here today to bring up a little bit of the past. Something that didn't get resolution, but we're here again about 12 months later. In September of last year, I emailed mayor and council about the Westwood Recreation Wrestling Program. The Westwood Junior Wrestling Club, all of our shirts say Westwood and Washington Township. All wrestling events happen here in 07676, our zip code, at the high school that both towns pay for. Send an email. Mr. Casio thankfully brought it up at the next meeting on the 2nd of October. 2nd of October. And there was a nice conversation that went on from there. That ended with, and I'm just looking at the meeting minutes, with Mayor Calamari. You stated that you were going to reach out and talk to the other mayor and take care of it, or at least have a conversation. 11 months later and a couple of days, I've heard nothing. Nothing was done, no conversation happened that the public is aware of. Westwood, on our team snap for wrestling, we get the messages over the weekend, hey, registration's open. But guess what? That's just for Westwood. It's not for both towns. So this year, registration's opening up again, or it's opened up for Westwood. We are the second-class citizens in the program. And I don't think any conversations happened between both governments. If it has, it hasn't been shared with us. But again, we have the extra out-of-town fee for an event that happens or a program that happens within our town. And I would love to hear if someone can own this, have conversations, take it off the line, and get it resolved. $25 is a couple cups of coffee. It's not about the money. It's about the principle of this program.
And it used to be our program.
And it used to be our program, which is a real kick in the teeth. But with that being said, this is one of those areas where politics and the fights that have happened in years past. I mean, I titled my email last year, can Township and Westwood please get along? 11 months later, we don't.
So
Can we get a solution?
let me ask a question, because, the wrestling is near and dear to my heart. So the sticking point is one, or two sticking points. One, we don't advertise it in town, right?
We don't.
Okay, and two, is a $25 fee?
It's just the fact that the fee is there for a
The fee is
program that
there.
happens here in town.
Okay.
And this year, they opened it up early to their residents and not ours.
Well, I'm pretty sure I can talk to Sue, because she gets stuff done. We can all talk to her. If we can get that on the website somewhere, that it's registration for
But it's
wrestling.
not open for us yet.
It's not open for us yet. I think we have
Okay.
another week
I think it says wrestling and the dates it's open, isn't it? Like all the
on their
other?
website.
Yeah, on ours.
Oh, I didn't see it on ours at all.
Because that's how all our sports usually show, if I remember
I mean,
correctly.
If we're doing something jointly with someone, the opening date should coincide.
I agree. I
Has
agree.
to, because then, we
Well,
don't,
we don't control the program, so it's difficult to say that
No.
because we got to get, Mr.
So-
Buckmeister has to agree to that.
We didn't do that for the summer program.
The summer camp, yeah.
We had it on the same day, and then everyone in Washington Township, well, not everyone, there was a vocal
Correct.
group
Right.
that said we should have priority, and we
So we did.
deferred everyone
Yes.
else. So all Westwood is doing is applying the rules
in
that
principle.
Yeah.
Yes,
we did.
so,
I disagree very slightly, because as we said, this used to be a township program that now Westwood has taken over. They always had their own summer program in addition to ours, so
it's a little different.
It's a little
It's a little
different.
different, so.
It's
I
not
think-
as shared.
I think that's something that I think that's an easy thing we can work out. I don't think that's,
But isn't it WTW Cardinals?
Yeah, it's Washington Township, Westwood.
It's Washington Township Westwood Cardinals. That's what's wrong with the whole thing.
can we just make it Cardinal Wrestling?
No, but
Junior
it's
Cardinal Wrestling?
WTW Cardinals. That's why.
I almost wore the gear today just to
Okay.
make it even more.
Well, you don't want to see me in my singlet, because it wouldn't be a pretty sight. But,
Thank you.
you're welcome. My wife doesn't let me wrestle anymore. I had to bail out of the last Fat and Bald Classic, but I did win it in 2017, just to let you know.
Flag
It is,
warrior.
Not my original weight class.
Mr. McKenna, it is
couple.
posted on the website that
Oh,
You gotta scroll and scroll.
Yeah.
Okay,
And scroll.
so that's an
Down
easy one.
That's an easy one.
So the fee is the
The
is
fee,
the
I
other
mean, it shouldn't
stipulation.
exist.
It's
We all
not-
pay taxes on the same building that this is in. And it
That's-
was supposed to originally be for field use. We debated that last year. It's field use plus community pass, but that costs less than 1% of transaction, not $25.
So
It is every sport though. It's not just wrestling.
it is true. It's every sport.
Yeah.
We do that surcharge, and this
But
has
do we
been-
charge him a surcharge, Mr. Mayor, for lacrosse?
I'm pretty sure there's no exclusion, so I'm pretty sure that we do.
You know, I think that's something.
And we
maybe
did
should
charge them the
revisit.
25 for camp, for rec.
It's ridiculous. It's 25 on this and then 25 on the other.
And,
Yeah,
and,
I
you know,
think
I
that's-
bring this up with the Westwood mayor probably quarterly to say, hey, you know, when can you guys, since you started this ridiculous $25 thing, when can you end it? We're happy to end it as, you know, as soon as you do. You know, I think he's trying to convince his council to do so. You know, now that the summer's over, we have our meeting next week. I will bring it up to him again and, you know, see if he can make any progress, because it's been ridiculous since day one. You know, we share the same school system, so we're both paying taxes to keep the school buildings open. I think that's where the wrestling program takes place in the
Yep.
school. So it's ridiculous. I'll bring it up with him again, and I'll try and include it in my report for next month.
Awesome. If I could be selfish, if you don't mind pinging it quarterly, that we all know that
Okay.
it's being worked on, that would be a
You
huge
got it.
help.
I think
Thank you, Mr. McCann.
I think that's important. Again, the $25 fee was instituted a few years back for whatever reason. You know, and I can understand, maybe other towns were adding that fee too. Okay, I get it. You know, if you come from Hillsdale, well, we do share children, we do share schools, we share a lot. We're sisters communities. So I think we should work on that. And I'm gonna pledge to you that we're gonna get it done.
Thank you.
Okay,
If
somehow. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we're gonna do it.
If I could take 30 more seconds, my kids are staying up to watch at home. I left them to take care of some other stuff and to be here tonight, but this is what government's all about, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
McCann.
for taking the time.
Would anybody else like to come up and address the council at this time? Good evening.
Good evening, Keith Jensen. Been about a decade here in town, 133 Woodfield. You know, I'm involved. I email you guys. I keep in touch with different things I see, volunteer to help out with different projects, and heck, whether it's taking care of landscaping across the street by the library, or taking care of the property that I own, 414, that I was getting fined for. That was the town's property, but I was taking care of it for a while until I sold it. I'm here to talk about costs and real estate speculation that the town gets involved with acquiring, and why we do this, and if it makes sense. You know, the recent article by Mr. Olahan with the DPW and the swim club and the seasons and the EMS, fire, police, council offices increasing, all needed, right? How are you going to do it? How are we going to pay for it? You know, that's something that's got to be discussed. But you're talking, you know, maybe more than $10 million easily. We saw what happened with different cases in the past. But one property in particular that I'm concerned about or questioning about is 450 Pascack. And not to get involved with negotiations of acquiring it, if those are even happening, because everything's behind the scenes, is what purpose is for. A lot of people in town don't know if it's going to be acquired, when it's going to be acquired. It's been discussed back and forth a while, but maybe we're getting close to the finish line of that happening, and great if it's at a great price and, you know, it makes sense. But you know, as me building some houses in town and selling them, you know, what I wanted to do on 414, if I was allowed to buy those odd lots, but the town would not sell them to me for whatever reason. I was going to put a nice home on there, increase the ratables by twofold, right? Great for the town, but I couldn't get those lots, so I couldn't build a house. I sold it. It's fine. 450, as I understand it, you can only build one house on that lot. The main reason is zoning, right? You can't build anything else on there, so don't worry about it. And the second is fire. You can't get a fire truck up there, so you can't do it. You can't go to a cul-de-sac. You can't get out the other way, so you can only put one house on that property. Therefore, the value of that land is really what you can do with that land. So me and anyone else who wants to buy it is only going to buy it for what you can build on it to sell. So if we were to acquire it, you know, if I was to build a house or someone else build a house, you're looking at maybe $30,000 a year in ratables that you're not going to get anymore, right? It just doesn't make any sense unless we know why we want to buy it. Because I know that the residents of Ridgewood want a free backyard. I got it, great for them, but no need for us to buy it for them. So the question I'm asking everyone here is, what are we buying 450 for? That, I'm stopping at
Is that
that point.
something we can answer, Mr. Mayor?
I mean, yes, I can give you my opinion as to why we're buying it. I'm sure everyone up here has an opinion on it. Mine is, it's a fewfold. It's to keep it in its natural state as it is, with the tree canopy that it adds to the town. To me, anytime you can purchase a property that is adjacent to already property that the town owns, I'll call it our flagship field, Memorial Field, that's a good investment for down the line. Not currently, but if 10 years from now, someone decides the money's available to make the field bigger, perhaps, we've acquired the property. Also, Bergen County Open Space sees the value in it because they're putting up about 2/3 of the money for us to make the purchase. And so they see the value in keeping it open also. So I see it as acquiring 3 acres. I agree the topography isn't the best, but to acquire 3 acres for the town share, I believe is a good investment for the town. So those are my reasons why I think it's a good purchase.
Anybody else?
Mr. Sears, you have something to say?
Yeah, I got to agree with the mayor on this, that the sole purpose is to keep that property open space. I mean, there was thought of eventually putting 2 apartments down at the very end, but you're right, we can only build on that single type of a home. We looked at extended parking lot and putting more handicap parking spots up in that area. But the way that property goes, I mean, and you're aware and I'm aware that one developer wanted to put 47 condos up there. And there was absolutely no way a fire truck could go up there because it narrows like a pine, So it has some benefits for the field in the future, I see. Also, I see a lot of benefits for Washington School, that we can open that back part as an environmental area for the kids to work on. It does need cleaning, it does need some pruning, but it has a lot of opportunities for the community.
Mr. Jensen, you have 1 more minute if you'd like to bring up anything else before you run out of time.
Yeah, I think on that note, you have to also look at the cost later on of what you're going to do. If you're going to put a parking lot, what the engineering is going to cost on that. Does it make any sense? Why you didn't even think about allowing me to buy the other lots beforehand? It made no sense too, fiscally. Now, if you want to buy this other property, I mean, your insurance, your auto insurances costs, your energy bills costs, your property taxes, your cost of living now, it's got through the roof. Now, if you buy this, even if the county is paying for a third of it, 2/3 or whatever they might or might not do, that's still our taxes too. I mean, it's coming in collectively, maybe not as much from town, but it's still raising our taxes. If you can't build on that property, once you take it over, I know that property in and out, it costs a lot of money to make it safe for the kids in school. Cutting down trees, pruning it up, getting rid of stuff that's back to environmental. That house itself. Have you taken into account that hundreds of thousands of dollars that are going to go into fixing that? So it's not just buying and holding it. It's not just the tear down part. It's then the remediation of the whole strip back there. You can't build anything there. It's park. It's just an open space. Why not let we're getting into speculation. You saw what happened with the swim club. We bought that. Now we know what we're doing. And we're putting potentially lots of money into that. And it's on a highway. I built a house on a highway. Nobody wanted it because it's on a highway. Nobody wants to walk around the park and relax on a highway. But the point is, once you buy something, if it's at the right price, first of all, I hope it's settled at the right price. Then what's the cost later on? And do we really need to do it? If you can't build anything on anyway, I would easily build a house on there, bring in $500,000 of new revenue back to the town. I would donate back the whole back of the land to the
10 seconds left, Mr. Johnson.
to the town, so you can actually look at that and not have to spend all our tax dollars and buying a piece of land for people on Ridgewood Road. I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Jensen.
Can I just, Mr. Jensen, because you had asked, while I agree with the mayor's comments, I also think that it is, a defensive measure for a builder who may seek remediation through the courts. And there's levers. I mean, I disagree with you. I mean, I think there are levers that can be pulled, initials that can be spoken of, and, all someone has to hear is COA, and, magically things happen. So I do think that the mayor articulated a clear strategy as to why it's being acquired. I also think on top of that, there is a matter of a defensive measure. But I do share the same concerns you have about, the cost of acquisition is one thing, but what are we doing with it? And to your point too, the county, the grants that we received, they come from the county. That money is not free. I mean, I got my tax bill today. The county portion is just, is there just like the municipal and the schools. So it is all our money.
But if I may, it is important to have this open space. Councilman Casio spoke about the wildlife in his opening statement. I mean, if we develop every piece of land, where are our animals going, right? On the dinner plate, maybe.
You're in my backyard eating.
So, I mean, not every piece of open land needs to be developed, in my opinion. We should leave it. The canopy, I mean, like everybody said, I'm in favor of open space, even if it sits there. There's natural habitat taking place. So that's my position on open space.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, everybody.
Mike, may I just make one more quick comment?
Sure.
I doubt very much our county taxes would go down if we did not take the grant. I'm sure another town would get the money. So I just see that as clawing some of our tax money that we pay to the county back for the town purposes. And as we all know, the swim club was a swim club for many, many years. I never heard one complaint that it was too close to the parkway and affected by anything by the parkway. And that was a huge recreational use as a swim club. So I respectfully disagree. It wasn't a complaint by members of the swim club for, I'll say, 40, 50 plus years. After 40, 50 years, as we said, times change. I doubt it went out of business because of its proximity to the parkway.
Thank you, everyone. Would anybody else, Ms. Stickle, you'd like to come up? Good evening.
Hi, good evening. I'm Mary Ellen Stickle. I don't have to say I'm in the township, right?
No, we know it.
I just wanted to thank the DPW for checking our manholes. They came out very quickly because there was a chance that they could have been clogged. They came out right away and they are excellent. And a lot of times we forget that they are so good. I want to thank them. I also wanted to thank Laura Riffikin, the library director. She did an excellent job during the construction. Things go back and forth, and there's a lot of coordinating that goes on, especially with the staff and the construction workers and whatnot, and keeping everybody safe. I just want to thank her. I want to thank Sasha Lopez. She's doing a great job currently on the town fair. She's taking the lead, and she's doing a great job. I came down mainly because the public relations position does not need to be two positions. It's a waste of taxpayer money, and you all know it. It's government at its worst. I'm embarrassed that people voted for her to have two positions. I think one position as the director, when it was on the agenda, I thought, oh, great. So she's getting promoted, in my opinion, to the main position. And she's good at it, and I respect her, and she's going to do a great job. But now that you're telling me she has two positions and she will be paid for two positions, this to me is just a disgrace, especially since I am a volunteer and have been there from the beginning. I've been there with Tom Sears. I was there with Dina Burke. It's a cookie cutter event. All right, we've been doing it for years now. I don't know, 15 years plus. It's the same people who show. It's the same vendors that come. It's the same sponsors. You're using my same original solicitation letter. It's the same letter. Everything is the same. This is not rocket scientist work. So when you hire somebody to do the position, which I think happened with Dina also, they hired a trade show coordinator to come in. I understood that. I was like, I get it, it's a lot of work, whatever. And then, Dina decided to leave, and then you took over, Daisy. It's great, and now we're handing it off to Sasha, but now we're giving Sasha 2 for the price of 1, 2 positions for 2 salaries. It's horrible. It's disgraceful. And as a volunteer, it makes me not want to volunteer anymore. And I don't even know what to say, but that's why I did come down here. And I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that this is the way we're really going to do this and the way it's going to play out. I don't know. I'm really just upset, and I think it should be rethought and just have 1 position.
Thank you, Mrs. I want to thank you for everything you've done in the past and hopefully continue to do
I'm not
so.
even up here to look, I mean, I do
I
it
know
for
you're
the
not here
fun.
for
I've
that.
done
You
it
do.
for my kids. We've done it for our kids. We know. We've done it for our kids for years. Every time I go out there and Tom and I have set up everything and we're looking back out and we're watching the kids jump around and we're saying, this is why we're doing it,
Yep.
right? This is why we're doing it. The kids are having a great time. And here it all came together, and we get there early in the morning and we're like, oh gosh, is it going to come together? And we're giggling and we're laughing and things are moving and shaking. And then it all comes together and the kids are just jumping around having a good time. And that's why I do it. I don't do it for somebody to pat my back. But now, do I want to do it? No, I don't really want to do it now. I don't know. Now I'm really going to reconsider it. You're paying somebody to do 2 positions. And then Renata was at the meeting too. What was she doing at the meeting? Were we paying for her to be there too? I mean, she's great also. I thought she had a stake in it or something. I didn't know, but I'm embarrassed.
I can just say she was not paid anything extra to be there. She came because she wants to see what's going on with the
Okay.
town also.
Okay. All right, that's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Stick.
Okay.
Anyone else like to come up? Seeing no one, motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Ordinances, ordinance number 24-13, adoption second reading. An ordinance amending fee ordinance chapter 212-11 entitled chapter 233, fire prevention.
Where's this? Your time's up.
I know, you're.
That's it, you're done.
Resolution number 24-304, authorizing second reading and opening a public hearing for ordinance 24-13. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? No one is in the audience for this? Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSenza.
Yes. Motion to close public hearing for ordinance 24-13.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSenza.
Yes. Motion to adopt ordinance number 24-13 at second reading by title. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSenza.
Yes. Introduction, first reading, ordinance number 24-14, an ordinance permitting overnight parking for active first responders of the Township of Washington. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance 24-14 at first reading by title. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSenza.
Yes. Resolution number 24-305, authorize publication of ordinance 24-14 and schedule a public hearing. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Ordinance number 24-15, an ordinance to implement,
A quick question. Is this, isn't this adopted already?
we had to revise it to include county roads. So last meeting, we had discussion
Yeah.
It's
to
revision.
include county roads, so we included the county roads. Ordinance number 24-15, an ordinance to implement goals and objectives of the Township of Washington 2019 Master Plan Reexamination Report. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 24-15 at first reading by title.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Resolution number 24-306, authorizing publication of ordinance number 24-15 and scheduling a public hearing. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second it. Roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Ordinance number 24-16, an ordinance to implement goals and objectives of the Township of Washington 2019 Master Plan Re-Exam Report by rezoning specific properties. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 24-16 at first reading by title.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Resolution number 24-307, authorizing publication of ordinance number 24-16 and scheduling a public hearing. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. It's all right. Take your time.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Ordinance number 24-17, an ordinance to implement various goals and objectives of the Township of Washington 2019 Master Plan Reexamination Report. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 24-17 at first reading by title.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Resolution number 24-308, authorizing publication of ordinance number 24-17 and scheduling a public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Resolutions and consent agenda. The following items have been determined to have the unanimous consent of the council and will be enacted in one motion. Should any item require independent consideration, any council member may have such items removed from the consent agenda. Would anybody like any items removed at this time?
24-313 for discussion.
3.
13.
And just,
I'd like to remove 24-309 just for discussion.
and can you just do the same for 311, please?
311?
Yep, just
Okay.
to discuss.
Resolution number 24-310, authorize tax collector to cancel any current tax liability and future property tax bills for Block 4210, Lot 2, 619 Hickory Street, and refund an overpayment in the amount not to exceed $1,413.09. Resolution number 24-312, authorize purchase and installation of playground equipment at Gardner under state contract from MRC Inc., 2130 Route 35, Seagirt, New Jersey, in the amount not to exceed $71,240.61. Resolution number 24-314, council appointment to the vacancy position of alternate member number 2, Zoning Board of Adjustment, Desiree Morgan, term expiring 12/31/2024. Resolution number 24-315, authorize amendment of the award of contract for joint feasibility study regarding ambulance services in the amount not to exceed $5,800. Motion to approve consent agenda resolutions as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Resolution number 309, resolution number 24-309. It authorized acceptance of bid and award of contract to Appraisal Systems, Inc. for township-wide reassessment services in total amount not to exceed $470,000. Do I have a
Excuse me, who pulled off 24309? Because I have
I did.
306.
I did.
You said 309, not 306. Yeah.
There is no 306.
Oh, I heard you say 6, and I apologize. Ready?
It's an upside down 6.
Absolutely.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Mr. DeCarlo, will this start January 1st of 2025, the reassessment, or when is the anticipated start date?
As soon as you, because it seemed to me the language mentioned the 26, but they weren't starting till October 1st of 2025.
Yeah, I thought we were a year ahead now.
My understanding is that it's going to take the year to do all that work. There's no way they would get that done between October 5th, but I do see it the way it's written.
So, I mean, I would have hoped that they would start, as you mentioned, Mr. DeCarlo, tomorrow.
They are. They are. I can't, I'm sorry. I should.
Yeah, so these dates in their letter should be up a year, right?
But if you look at the RFP or the response, it's very specific.
So they're not starting till next year, is what they're saying?
And
No.
well,
According to their response, they're not starting till next year.
So a year from now, basically.
That's going to throw you
That's what
to
the-
tax.
and
That's
we
how
won't
it
see,
reads.
not a benefit, but we won't see the expected
2027.
equalization until
The tax year of 2026.
2026.
So I think, is you reading it a different way?
No, it's saying they're not starting the assessment till next October, not this October.
I don't think that includes the prep work.
I mean, I really thought this was going to be a 2025 impact.
Correct. I thought by the next August tax bill or close to it, we'd have we'd have a new tax base.
Well, I mean,
That's why we rushed.
I mean,
That's why
I know we were hoping to get the resolution passed as soon as we could so they could start the work. So I don't know really how to explain it, so, because.
Could you follow up?
Clarification on
Could
it.
you clarify that tomorrow with them?
Yeah, and then what we.
And get us the response?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, would you want me to step out, see if I can make a phone call now?
No, tomorrow's fine.
Okay. You got it.
Any other discussion on 24-309?
Just has the tax assessor and the tax collector, have they both reviewed the response from on the RFP? And my concern is the vendor really spoke about their process to do it, to perform it. And they have a lot of outreach and their website and emails. But in theory, I'm guessing every property will be impacted, either up or down. A few may not, but, and how does that come back into our systems? You know, the integration of the findings, because, I mean, how many properties do we have in town?
Yeah, I was gonna say
I mean,
3,200.
to update 3,300 records manually, you know, the RFP talked about CAMA, which I'm not familiar with. But, you know, again, we're gonna have all this great information. Do we know how we're getting it back into our books and records to integrate that back? Because that typically is one of the bigger challenges. They come up with all these edits or adjustments, but we have to reflect them. So, you know, as long as the assessor and the collector are comfortable that they're going to get that, and that on the 20, you know, in early 26, we're not sitting there wondering how we're updating 3,300 records or the records.
Okay, I will find out. I know the tax assessor reviewed it. I did not provide it to the tax collector, but I certainly can.
And I mean, this camera, I don't know if it's like a county level or a state level but they talked about specifically that in a few responses. So,
Correct.
if that's.
We could find out what that acronym stands for, that'd be great.
What was the acronym?
I think it's CAMA.
CAMA.
Okay.
Something, I don't know. Okay. Any other discussion on 309? Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Resolution number 24-311, authorized purchase of patrol vehicle under state contract from Mall Chevrolet, 75 Haddonfield Drive, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, in amount not to exceed $47,985.95. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, just Mark, just quick, with that particular purchase, that's just the purchase of the vehicle, not the equipment?
Yes.
Okay. And
Is this a
that's
Durango or is this the,
This is for a Chevy
Chevy.
Colorado. Yeah.
so we're not getting the Durango bid?
No,
No,
this,
we have the Durango already.
Oh, we got the Durango?
Yeah, it's waiting to be outfitted right now.
Okay, so this is the one that was for this year,
Back order. This was
correct?
the back order.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Oh, this is,
So-
okay.
So
It finally became available.
So the 47.9 is just for the person. We have enough left over in that line item to equip it?
oh, yes, you guys approved 90,000, guys and girls approved 90,000.
This was a previous council, Mike. This was approved by the previous council.
No, we
No,
approved.
that was us.
No, this was
Oh, this is, but I thought we bought, so we bought
Yeah,
the
so that
Durango.
was
Oh, I'm, okay.
last year.
Yes.
They couldn't get the Tahoe
Correct.
so quick, so they didn't fall behind excessively.
We got the
Changed it
Durango.
to get the Durango, yeah.
So this year we're getting a Tahoe, not a
Yes.
Durango.
Yes,
Okay, that
keep
makes-
our
okay.
fingers crossed.
That was my only question.
Thank you.
One question, is this the amount, was this in the bill list last month?
No. No, I think what was in the bill list was the Durango, because you
Yeah.
asked questions about that
Okay.
last meeting.
All right,
Yeah, so this is so we can actually place the order.
okay, thank you.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Resolution number 24-313, authorize infield rehabilitation to 5 ball fields to Field Pro Enterprise LLC, 55 Patterson Street, Unit 302, Hillsdale, New Jersey, in the amount not to exceed $77,415. Do I have a motion? Oh, this one got changed. I'm sorry.
Timeout.
Timeout.
Yeah, we
That
didn't
amount
change it on the
Yeah.
agenda.
Yeah, I would
I'm sorry. It's for 106,200. We have the new resolution, but it's not updated in the agenda.
If
So
you want me to explain.
24-313 is for a not to exceed amount of 106,200.
Mine ready.
So what happened was when we were.
We have a motion and
Oh,
a second,
sorry.
please.
Second.
Motion? Second?
I'm sorry, who motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you. Second.
Mike.
I'm going to recuse
Oh, you're
myself.
someone's got.
Second.
Yeah, there you go.
Tom.
Thank you.
So I guess when we were getting bids, right, Mr. DeCarlo, we didn't get the 2 from Memorial for the softball diamond and the baseball diamond. And that's now added those rehabilitations to it.
No, we did it. Thank you, Sue, again, because it was like a 5:00. I was reviewing everything and I noticed when reading the resolution, it didn't include Memorial Field. So when I asked Mr. Scudieri about it, they didn't include Memorial Field because we didn't know if we were going to do it based on the engineer's recommendation. We had the engineer, before we wasted money on the infields, we wanted engineer's recommendation, like, because there's an overall drainage problem over there. So we met with Mr. Beckmeyer a couple days ago, and he recommended, no, that if there's other things we can do. You can go ahead and do the field rehabilitation. That just didn't translate into the new resolution. So we went to Sue and asked if she could change it. So there's 7 fields instead of 5. We added Memorial Field.
Yep.
It used to just say Cherry, Clark, and Gardner, and then it upped it to 106, but it's still within the money that council approved during capital budget. So sorry for that confusion.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Abstain. Motion to adjourn to conference agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We take a 5-minute recess, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
2024, DPW building, Mr. DeCarlo? Or Mr. Mayor?
Speak for both of us, yeah. No one from the council reached out to me with any questions, as Mark said in his opening report. He looked into your suggestion, Mike, about the different brick type. I don't know if that satisfactorily answered your question.
Yeah, just, we did it at the firehouse to save money. It was a big cost savings. I know the firehouse is a lot bigger than this building,
Right.
but, it's kind of keeping the buildings more uniform if we did the same split face block like we did at the firehouse with the brick front.
Okay.
So if we could look at that would I think, it will save some money. I understand his cost opinion says it's limited, but the reason we did it at the firehouse was to save a considerable amount of you not doing all that brickwork except for the couple prominent areas in the front facade, which hopefully could do here.
Okay. I'm outside the scope of what I'm about to say here, but I don't know if when we put it out to bid, can we bid it both ways and see how the bids come in? We can check with the architect on that.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I guess Mr. Ullman had a couple questions last meeting, Mr. DeCarlo, about do we include the site work and did we get a number from Mr. Beckmeyer for the site work and all that?
We did not yet.
I mean, he would be in charge of the site work, correct? He's our engineer?
Yes, sir.
So I guess if we can facilitate a full cost opinion for the project, including all the site work and any other soft costs of both his fees and whatever. I know Mr. Iovino's fees are all inclusive in his original contract, correct? He's got from design to construction administration, right?
Right.
So what Mr. Beckmeyer's fees would be for his design and administration, and what his rough cost opinion would be, rough order of magnitude of what his cost would be, so we could put a final price tag on this. And then if you could have Mr. Corcoran tell us what that would equate to per. I know we did some cost opinions, right? But we didn't include the whatever Mr. Beckmeyer is going to include, right?
I think the numbers are going to stay the same. It's just based on how much we end up borrowing.
Yeah, we gave you a few meetings ago that cost per million.
Yes.
I know, that won't change, so we can back into it from when we have the total cost.
Okay, so if we could get the final total cost.
While we're working on that, Council President, are we okay to tell Mr. Iovino to move forward with completing those plans?
Council, are we okay with telling Mr. Iovino to continue with the plans as presented at the last meeting? And I had just asked for one alternate to be added with the split face block to match the firehouse with just the brick facade in the front. I know the firehouse is a lot bigger, but it did save a considerable amount of money when we did it at the firehouse. So
We can have it comparison.
yeah.
I just had one question. There's, maybe I didn't read the plan right. Is there plans for a pit for maintenance of the trucks?
No,
No.
What?
like a pit, open pit at the bottom for maintenance of vehicles.
Oil changes and things like that?
I think there wasn't, but I think we talked about could be a piece of equipment to buy a lift, I guess would be the
Yeah,
right thing.
or-
Nothing was designed for someone to go underground.
Yeah, and also, I want to say I'm so happy with our arrangement with the county to do the maintenance. That wouldn't be something that I would propose, but certainly willing to listen to council. Because not only would it cost extra, I would think, to do the pit or the lift, but then we'd have to have a mechanic doing that work. And, again, my opinion is it's working out very well with the county for them to do maintenance and repairs on our vehicles.
So unless it's, the most minor of things, all of our vehicles are going out at this point?
Yes, since
Under
we took the
these-
DPW building down, so it's been working for quite a few years now.
Okay. All right.
I'm okay with giving. I will make a motion to have Mr. Iovino finalize the plans for the building with the alternate of the split face block on the two sides in the rear of the building with the brick facade, in the way it was presented in your email sent to us, Mr. DeCarlo. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
We need to do a roll call, Sue?
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
Just to be clear, it's the way that it was presented by Mr. DeCarlo and the mayor with the second option for the cost analysis, correct? Of the-
The building with no second floor for us on top, you know.
Well, it's half, yeah, well,
Not for
kind
council
of the way you
chambers.
say, yes.
No, it's not
Half the
council
second
chamber, yeah,
floor.
yeah, half a second floor for the men to have, and the workers to have a room, but
Correct.
no council chambers or anything on the second floor. The last email Mr.
Most
DeCarlo
recent
sent
one, yeah.
Correct.
in August, or what day was that? Yeah, it's the previous August, whatever email Mr. DeCarlo sent.
Correct.
Yes, then yes.
Can we put that date in this?
Council President, can you just,
Well, you want to finish the roll call? First?
Yeah, let's
Oh, yeah,
finish it off,
sure.
yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Ms. Willis? And I'm a yes.
And Council President DeSena?
I'm a yes.
Okay. Here we go.
Mr. DeCarlo, you had a question?
so the alternate still includes the front as brick,
Yep,
and then it's the other three sides?
as split-faced insulated block, yes.
Other three sides. Split. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Swim club.
More at this point, just a placeholder. I don't know if council, wants to put this on hold for a little bit, but I just been putting it on every agenda.
I did not have anything new.
I mean, I'd like to see some progress towards, not a final decision, but, let's not make it a placeholder, but let's take some action.
Just to recap where we are now, Council President, is where, Boswell's conducting that LSRP, see if to identify if there's any hazardous materials inside the building, asbestos, lead, other such. And then I kind of got the sense last time we would move forward with the demolition of
That
the
is the
building
intent,
after that. So this needs to be done first so he can give us a proper cost estimate of how much demolition would be. But nothing, nothing like there's going to be a splash pad or there's going to be ball fields or anything like that.
Okay, so there is.
Yeah.
Movement.
So it's demolition, I thought it was demolition of the pool, right?
Yep. Well,
And the
And all the
buildings.
ancillary
Yeah.
buildings, right?
Yeah.
So it would pretty much put it back to earth with no concrete other than the pavement of the asphalt.
yes. And some of our local recreation improvement grants, like we got to start spending that money. So that'll be good, even if it's just to make it earth, like you said.
Okay, thank you. Finance Director.
I know at least one of you, maybe more, said you wanted time to think about it from the last meeting with the information I had presented. So that's why it's on here again. Again, just to refresh everyone's memory, the person would like to do the job, but he'd like to be compensated for it. It's not just overseeing him, but two other departments that would, report to him as part of this. And so again, he was just looking for council's word that, come the end of the year, you would transfer money to cover the extra $900.
Anybody entertain a motion to increase the Finance Director line item from $900 to $1,800?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay. Councilman Casio?
No.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
No.
Councilwoman Velez?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Not happy about it, but I'll do it. Overnight parking.
On behalf of the CFO, I want to thank you for approving that.
Overnight parking. What do we got? I guess, is that what you're here, Chief?
Yes.
Good evening, Chief.
Chief, just tap it to make sure it's on. It's on.
That's good.
Thank you.
So you were here last time talking about overnight parking and the problems you were having with the
Correct.
repeat offenders that were calling in multiple times.
Correct.
Where do we stand?
An ordinance was prepared, and I just wanted to see if everyone got a chance to look at it and
Yes.
had any questions. And, if we felt like moving forward with it, that'd be great. It definitely met with my approval. It closely mirrors the fair loan ordinance, which we modeled it after, but we made appropriate changes to accommodate us and our unique situation versus theirs.
So please put on what would be the maximum number of times we would allow and address the call-in per?
Currently, it is 6 nights consecutive and 6 nights in a 30-day period.
And it would remain that.
Correct.
The ordinance, correct?
Correct.
I just want to put that out.
That-
I read it, but I just want you to.
That is at my discretion, and that's what I've come up with as a reasonable amount for those who don't get the permits.
And just refresh me how we're going to issue those permits. How we determine with the adult children of the home or more than 2 cars?
My intent would be no more than 2 per household, and it would need to be the number of vehicles and number of licensed drivers would have to exceed the parking. Yeah, in other words, if you have 4 drivers but 6 cars, I would consider those extra 2 cars to be discretionary, and I would not be in favor of accommodating that because that is discretionary in my opinion. But if you have 4 spaces and 4 licensed drivers with 4 cars, I consider that a necessity today, so.
Okay.
Okay, so that's how the decision will be made.
Correct,
And
based on the number of vehicles and number of licensed drivers.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Steve.
And the enforcement end, how are you going to enforce it? Are your officers going to have a list of those homes with them?
As per they would, because I don't anticipate it to be that great.
Okay.
But the ordinance also specifies that the permit or the tag will be displayed in the vehicle.
Again, I think our concern, or being Tom's concern, is we don't want to turn into,
Completely agree. I really don't see more than half a dozen houses in town even qualifying. I could be wrong, but based on the number of residents that have reached out to me, I think that would be in the ballpark in terms of qualifying. There could be others that
And they
just
have
haven't
to
reached
park
out.
in their frontage, not in somebody else's frontage. with
That
the
is
tag.
correct. As per the
Just wanna
ordinance,
make sure they
unless they have a fire hydrant or something like that precludes it. But yes, that contains in the ordinance, you shall
It's
park
their
in
frontage,
front.
not my frontage or somebody else's frontage where.
Correct.
You're upset.
Completely agree with that.
and that's only on our roads, doesn't apply to the county road, right?
That is correct.
I was just going to ask, will the council entertain putting something in for people who live on county roads, maybe to park on the
On the side
closest
street.
township road? I don't know if that presents a challenge to you, or as long as they have the placard, I wouldn't think so, but.
But it puts a vehicle in front of somebody else's house
I
that,
know,
Right.
Maybe
yeah.
we should hold off on it and see if that problem actually occurs and exists.
And we can,
Maybe we could always.
we could always
Edit
decide
this.
on that later on. But
Totally
I think it
agree.
may be a burden on the person.
You're right.
If you have somebody parking from 7 to 7 in front of your house every day and you can't even utilize, mow your own grass in
Right.
peace because somebody's parked there.
right, agreed.
Will the tag match the vehicle? So you can't just pull it out and put it in your buddy's
That-
car?
It's gonna have the license plate on it like
Or
Fairlawn says, right?
something to identify the tag to that car?
Yes,
Yeah, like Fairlawn's has the license plate, I believe, said printed on the tag.
correct.
It goes
Yes.
with that license. plate.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't understand it first, but yes, it'll be, that the permit will not be registered to the house, it'll be registered to the vehicle.
To the vehicle?
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
Will the council get a list of these homes that will get this quote-unquote special permit to park in the street?
That would go through I would have to go through the administration on that if you request that from the administration.
And-
Absolutely. I would want you to be informed as to the number of
How would-
applications,
how-
both accepted and
How will
denied.
they be double-checked to see if there's 4 people that live in there or only 3 and their cousin's coming up and they're going to put him on this? How do we,
The driver will have to, the household, speaking of Fairlawn, the household will show me a list of driver's licenses with a photocopy of the actual driver's license that shows
So
the
their address has to
driver's,
match the house
correct,
where it is.
that the driver's residence is that home. Yeah, I intend to scrutinize these very closely because like you,
It's a big deal.
yeah, I want to
big deal.
accommodate those who need it, but I don't want this to become a free-for-all. That's
well, and that's.
That's a big
why-
concern of mine as
I think
well.
that's what a lot of us
Yeah.
on this dais are afraid
Yep.
of, is that
Yeah.
this becomes a free-for-all and we end up with over parking on every street.
And
Right.
And all of a sudden,
how do
As long
you,
as we vote an ordinance.
we could revoke it, yes.
Yeah.
Take it back. and
how do you distinguish between the person that has the same name, that's a relative, and they're in there,
License number.
will that be checked, verified?
Well, that car will have a tag for that car.
The vehicle will have to be registered to that home. So the number of vehicles registered with the actual registration certificate, which I intend to observe myself and go to the home and look at the driveway. So the address of the vehicle has to be registered to that address, to a resident of that address, and there has to be a greater number of drivers that exceed the parking in the registered to that home. So in other words, if you have parking for 3, you're going to have to show me 4 licenses, current valid
To get that one
licenses.
spot on the street.
Exactly, yeah.
So if you just don't want to jockey cars around, you're not getting away with it. That's what I'm
Yes.
afraid of, yeah.
Yep,
I'm
completely agree on that.
You decide to fill a spot up with a beat up car that you're gonna work on. That car's registered to the town.
To the home.
There's only one per driver.
But it's one per driver, so that car would have to have a driver associated with that car.
That's the reason for both. I want to know both how many drivers
Right.
live there and how many vehicles. And one can't exceed the other, then it's no longer a hardship.
Yeah, so if you're
I would
working on a
like
car.
to do this on a temporary basis, to see how it
Let's do a
works out.
90-day, you want to do a 90-day trial ordinance and see how it works out?
You do that temporary? Or
Is, I don't
just
think
revoke
90 days seems enough.
Do
I think we need
Just
to.
revoke it. If it goes wrong, revoke it. Or amend it.
Yeah, if we're in favor of it, put it in place, and if it's a problem, we'll revoke it. But I think doing a temporary is.
There's a pain in the neck,
I
yeah.
think if people know we will revoke it, if it becomes a problem, they'll probably.
Yeah, I think
understand
I'm
that.
okay with having this introduced at the next meeting, but if it doesn't, if it becomes too cumbersome for the department and for our residents, because there's too many cars out on the streets, then we're gonna revoke it. So I want to just put that out there. That's how I'm
Well,
okay.
I see that as a valid point, but I also see like cars are out in the street now and they're not getting ticketed.
That's yeah.
That's my concern.
Beach Street has a lot of those, Mr.
A
Sears.
lot of them.
If you're aware of vehicles out longer than six nights in a 30-day period, please let me know.
I
Please
think I did.
send,
You came when I told you that, yeah.
please send me an email so I can have it checked myself and make a point of it. I have the officers out there enforcing, but as we know, the convenience for calling it in, I'm not going to deny that right now you have empty spots in driveways and vehicles out on the street
Right.
for no reason whatsoever, other than convenience. I'm not going to deny that exists because it's more convenient to log on your phone and register that vehicle in Frontline than it is to, put your sneakers on and go outside and move the car.
Change the ordinance to say if you have a parking spot in your driveway,
Well, that's what it says. No, but that's what it says. It
keep
says-
that car out of the street.
Well, that's how we,
Yeah.
have more than what you have to accommodate.
I've thought about that, Tom, and I did explore that. The issue becomes if it's not a resident of that house. In other words, the officer pulls up, he sees the vehicle in the street, he runs the vehicle. The vehicle comes, I'll use Fairlawn. The vehicle comes back to someone in Fairlawn. I don't know where that person is, but if the vehicle is in Frontline, if the vehicle has requested permission and received permission, it could belong to a house 3 doors down that has the driveway full. In which case it's impossible for us to determine where the person who registered that vehicle for overnight parking is. And so the
Can't we put
logistics
a
fall
line-
apart.
Can't we put a line in Frontline to say what address are you requesting this overnight parking for?
They put that in, but that doesn't guarantee that that's where they are because I'll give you an example. School ends, we have, everyone has graduation parties. We wind up with a dozen cars in the street that night.
So they end
And
up-
so I might be at 399 Beach Street, but I'm parked in front of 399 Beach Street, but I'm actually I came from a party at 412 Beach Street or
But
something
it
like
ended up
that.
that it went all the way down the street.
Exactly. So
And that's what I'm worried
the
about
logistics
happening is
become-
that, we end up with all these car spots because, yeah.
I completely agree. Believe me, I do not want the character of the roads the way they're supposed to be at night for many reasons, not just quality of life issues, but public safety issues.
Right.
The officers going around checking these things. There's a big difference between someone who called in overnight and somebody who parked a vehicle to go do something nefarious in the middle of the night. So I don't want this to get out of control by any means. I truly just want to take care of those small handful of residents that have a legitimate issue and that my controls have now inconvenienced or made it impossible to address those
I'm
issues.
okay with introducing this at the next meeting. Anyone else object? Mr. Alman, Mrs. Velazquez, Mr. Sears?
Is there a hesitancy to introduce it tonight or?
I don't think we,
There you go.
I don't think we have a resolution.
Yeah, so there you go.
Right, and there's some
Things we gotta-
suggested fees.
Yeah, she's got to get suggested fees and everything, so I don't think we can introduce it tonight. So if we can button that up for the next meeting, we can introduce if everybody's okay with it.
Yes.
My only
wanna
question
discuss
to
the
the
fee?
chief is,
That's up to
this seems like a lot of process. Is that going to be too much overhead?
I don't see it that way.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not that I don't see, it is a lot of process. I agree with that part. I don't
But
think,
it's limited.
I don't think it'll be burdensome because I don't see the volume being that great. Like I said, I truly foresee I'd expect about a half a dozen that would qualify based on what I've seen. If I get, I think I'm going to get a lot more applications than that because I've already, since bringing this up last time, I've already gotten applications from people who needed it explained because it was exactly what I talked about at the last meeting. They didn't listen to that part. They have 4 vehicles and 2 drivers, and I had to explain to them, this does not apply. Under the way it's written right now, you will not qualify.
Correct.
So I think I'm going to get a lot of initial applications, but then once people are denied, I think it's going to be, like I said, about half a dozen. I'd be surprised if it gets up to a dozen that would qualify. So
Mr. Mayor, is it okay if the chief includes this in his police report that we get every month of how many applications were approved? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Is that okay for him to add that to it?
very easy.
Is that something, is that everybody okay with the council? What's
Yeah,
that?
that's fine.
If the chief adds it to the monthly police report we receive, and then this way we'll know how many permits are
Right.
given that month or active.
I have a question for the chief.
Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Mr. Sears.
I guess under, let's see, 223-17-2, under exceptions,
Yes.
contractors, service vehicles, are you allowing them to park overnight even though they're working in a house?
Yes. The reason that would be is
Why would we have contractor
I'll
vehicles in the street?
give you an example of Serve Pro in the middle of the night. If your basement floods and you get Serve Pro to your house and it's a time sensitive thing that they're working there, we will permit it.
That's fine, it's an emergency, but I'm just looking on the dock side of, oh, I'm working in the house and he's gone and his vehicle's there overnight. How do we control that? He may be there 3 nights saying, well, I'm working in the house.
Would that be addressed under construction ordinance or something to that effect?
I'm just.
I'm glad you
I see
addressed it.
happening.
I'm glad you addressed it. If we're not going to do this tonight, I have no problem with removing that and keeping it under the general. So we could take that out. That's an excellent point.
Take it out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Sears.
Yeah, that was a good catch. It was originally envisioned, like I said, just for those, but they can go through the regular process anyway, so.
Surf Pro could go through the right here.
Exactly. So, yeah,
But if it's an
plumber,
emergency, you'll know about it because you'll have a fire call or an ambulance.
Exactly.
You have some kind of call.
Yeah.
But this year I could see.
Yeah, you just,
leading
hey, I'm
into-
renovating my house and my builder's gonna park a truck there while he's building the house.
Thank you, chief.
Yep. No, thank you. That was a good catch.
But while we're here, we can go to B where we're talking about, permits for this. You want to put some prices in there? I mean, if the administration puts a price in there, we don't agree with it, we'll have to go back to the drawing board. So I'd like to,
Are we using Fairlawn's prices or are we using different prices?
whatever.
I left that up to your discretion.
The other
Yeah,
kind
and council sets the fees usually for
yeah, we
everything,
set the
so.
fees for this stuff. So we have
What
to,
was Fairlawn's fees? Mr.
Well, what's the commuter parking lot fee?
I think it was $100 a year.
Yeah, but that's
for
going to be
Fairlawn.
up for debate. We're going to bring it back to the table.
Once we
to see
knew
if
if
you
it filled
want
up
to
or
do it,
not,
yeah.
yeah. I think Fairlawn's was $100 per year, so I'm okay with keeping it at $100 per year per permit.
2 cars, 100 each?
Yeah. Well, it's only one car.
Nobody
well,
can-
first vehicle and then additional vehicle.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do?
And then-
100
then
per
you have-
vehicle or?
No,
100?
I believe there was a provision in there also to limit it for the
max.
council to decide, and I believe I would recommend 2.
Two max.
2 max
Yeah,
per
I think-
household.
I think it's 2 max per household and $100 per vehicle. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah. I mean,
We want.
I like
Per month, per
to,
year.
in a way,
What's that?
discourage it, but I like to make sure that the point's across. This
It's
isn't
not
forever.
an easy thing to do. So I'm okay with 2 maximum cars per household and $100 for the first vehicle and $100 for the
What do you
second.
mean 2 max?
You can only park 2 cars on the street. You can only get an exemption from the chief for 2 cars.
2 permits per household.
Have 4 college children. plus two
That's gonna be a
adults.
problem.
You got a problem.
What, you
Buy
could wait
one.
one of your kids?
Buy one car and let them share it.
So
Because I mean, there
He
are
hasn't had,
families.
well, he hasn't had a
that
problem
would
with anybody asking.
I
for two.
I have never received a request for more than
So-
two. That was the
Okay.
max.
Yeah.
John, if we go to B, right? So we have the first vehicle, right? X amount of dollars. So we said 100, right,
100.
per month, all right?
100 per year, no.
Wait a second.
Fairlines was 100
It says,
per year,
it says first vehicle blank per month or blank per year. So what do you want? Do you want to just do a year? You want to do yearly or monthly?
Well, if purchase before March 1st, so it
Okay.
contemplates,
A pro.
right, and
$100
if you're
was
purchasing it in
Yeah.
June, you shouldn't have to pay 100.
Okay,
That's-
I got you. Okay. And then you shouldn't read each additional vehicle.
Right.
Second
additional
vehicle, should be second vehicle
yeah.
because you're not doing,
Right.
you can interpret that as having 3 or 4.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
your second vehicle.
One thing I would like to discourage, and I would hope we could do through the fee schedule, is some people have, like I just articulated, maybe only room for 3 cars, but they have 4 drivers and they all
Right.
qualify, but 2 of them are away at college. So now people are just going to want the permit for May, June, July, and August, because then the kids go back to college. I'd like to discourage that because the kids are going to come home on the weekend and then you utilize the 6-day
right,
limit.
right.
So I'd like to discourage
That's
that
why
and
it has
make
to
them
be a
annual
year.
permits, like get it, because otherwise then we are going to have a lot of paperwork. Then we
So
are going to have what Mr. Ullman
$100
referred to,
$100
which is a lot of
Yeah.
processing.
And the second
per
one
year.
for the second one.
Yeah.
Right.
$100 for
Each car.
year, no prorating, right?
Each
That's what I would like,
Okay, so
yes.
make it 100 each car.
It's $100 flat rate, no
Okay.
matter what month of the year.
All right,
it
so
is,
let's make sure that's in there, right?
Yeah.
And then we have a section for active military spouses, right? That meet the predetermined criteria. What do you want to do with that? I mean,
We could waive the fees for the
We can waive the military. fees.
military, I mean.
But active military.
active military.
Yeah, it says
active.
active military, we're gonna
Okay.
waive the fees.
All right, then let's waive them.
As long as he stays within the 2-car limit, no tanks, Jeeps.
Any other discussion on this, John, ladies and
On your
gentlemen?
tank permit now?
Just to
You
circle
bring a
back.
Sherman? Stick it in
Circle
the-
back for a second, just thinking of a family in town with 3 out of 4 kids who are driving, who are still, young. And their youngest is 15, so she'll be driving shortly. So in that scenario, I know we max out at 2. Is there a way that you could let us know if that becomes,
I'm happy to provide feedback if I receive.
I think their driveway's big enough, but at one point they may have 6 vehicles
Yeah.
and legitimate, the kids are still young enough, but not old enough to be on their own, but to be drivers. So just to keep that on your radar as potential.
I think it's may have to morph or be revoked, it depends on how it becomes. I think it's either gonna morph or get revoked, so it's gonna be okay the way it is, just like
Right.
Caroline's is, 'cause
You got twins
Is
or
there
triplets.
language in this that's saying if you violate the rules or regulations, you're,
Well, anyone who falsifies, right?
The permit can be revoked, I believe there is.
A warning and then a revocation, perhaps?
one.
Violations and penalties, right?
Yeah.
The bottom, A, willingly falsifies information given to the application, required herein, or fraudulently obtains a park permit without being a bona fide resident shall be subject to penalty as provided in chapter 1 and general provisions, blah, blah, blah. That's another article.
So if anyone is in violation, it's the same as if they parked their vehicle overnight without permission.
Just-
we need to take-
Yeah, correct.
All right,
Okay,
so is everybody okay with,
so we're taking.
putting on this with the amendments we just talked about? And
Not fine.
So in,
We have this-
C, we're taking that out, right?
can we have this sooner than our packet,
Yeah.
Ms.
Right.
Bailey? if that's
Yeah.
possible?
So for the fees,
In the
A is
hundreds for the
100, B
military.
is 100.
Yeah,
C, are we striking veterans and are we just leaving it as active military and waiving it?
Well, if we it says veterans with 100% disability,
Yes,
so it has to be that.
correct.
Okay.
So and I'm looking at this from a statewide thing. I'm always thinking that this would give us an incentive for state grants on the veterans, because if you offer certain entities to veterans, the state will, give us certain money towards the veterans.
Okay.
Priority, parking, signs and things like that.
All right.
I mean,
So you're okay
it's
with
100%
language?
disability, so it could be a wheelchair, a veteran, it could be a missing limb. I think we would be honored to do this for the veterans.
Correct.
Yeah.
So in
So-
C, should veterans be taken out, then you want just.
No, I think we
No,
want
leave
to
it
just,
the way it is.
I think we want to just take it out because we're not going to charge them, right? For
We're just saying there's
active
no
military,
charge.
right?
No charge, we just gotta make it,
Yeah,
it says no
it said,
charge.
right, shall not be waived.
Yeah,
Shall be
shall be
waived down there.
This is, this piece though.
Oh.
Do we need them to be?
Oh, you want to take veterans out?
I don't know.
No, our veterans,
No,
active military,
active.
100%
Right.
disabled is what it said, right?
Okay.
It is, but I thought that
Yeah,
Councilman Sears was saying they need to be,
No,
No,
we
no,
should,
no. Oh, I'm
no,
sorry.
yeah, keep that there.
okay, got it.
Okay.
All right.
Mike, may I ask the
Yes.
chief a question? Is there anything in here that stops a car from being on the street, let's say 30 days, not being moved at all since daytime, assuming they're not a school zone or anything, that, it's just there, someone put their hobby car out there and they're going to work on it in the street and it's going to stay overnight?
Hobby cars wouldn't count toward this ordinance,
Right.
because it'd be an extra car that you don't drive as a daily driver.
Okay.
But having-
Maybe not to use that as an example, but maybe the one where kids go back to school, it's out there all while the kids are in school and they're not allowed to have a car. I don't think we want cars on the street not being moved for days on end.
There is nothing for that. Because if a
I
ve-
can't think of how to enforce it, but I'm just bringing it up.
Yeah, but is there a Title 39 statute that would cover vehicles?
48 hours. It has to be moved in 48 hours.
Okay. There you go.
Fireman, correct.
Can we just verify?
I did my career.
Can we just make sure that exists in Title 39? That
Will do.
48 hours it has to be moved? Or?
Yes.
That'll be-
That is a
I agree
Title
with you.
39 on a public roadway?
Yeah, I agree
Okay.
with you, Peter. That would be a problem if it just sat out there for 30
Right.
That's what we're trying to avoid.
Yes.
Is, hey, I park in front of your house, but I have a tag.
That's not a true hardship, in my opinion.
No.
No, right.
Agreed. Thank you.
All right.
That's Title 39, was it?
Correct.
It says max 48 hours on the road. All right, anything else on overnight parking? I guess while we have the chief here, can we talk about amend chapter 223, parking, standing, and stopping, right? That's yours too, or no?
I did not put that on.
That was the King Claw, same thing.
I think it's the same
Same
thing.
thing.
Same thing.
Oh,
It's
it's
on twice.
Oh.
Right.
Okay,
It was just a sample of the.
all right, thank you.
ordinance.
Okay, that's fine. All right,
That's
thank you,
what
chief.
Thank you
So-
all. I really appreciate this getting
If we can
updated.
finalize it, Mr. Mayor, can we ask that Ms. Bailey get this to us before the package, just so we can have some time to digest it, and if anybody has any comments, get it back to Mr. DiCarlo and the chief, just to make sure we're all on the same page, is that okay?
Assuming she can reasonably, because I know we have a lot on your plate these days, so.
I could do that.
Okay.
I mean, not, we got plenty of time for
Yeah,
the next
a
meeting.
couple weeks.
But if it's in, if
Yeah,
it's got an
sooner
error,
than later.
yeah, I'd rather have it, so this way we can have the final ordinance adopted that night with no strikeouts or revisions, because somebody catches something, right?
And how do you want that addressed? You want it to come back to you? You want it?
No, come back to, it should come back to, send your comments to Mr. DiCarlo, and then, right? I mean, it's got to go to the administration, right? So, or, actually, it's ours, so,
Address it
To Sue.
Sue.
and then I'll
We'll
get
send
it.
it out, and
Yeah.
if we have changes, we can send it to the administrator.
Yeah, all right, does that work?
Questions?
Is that all right? If I have, I'm just so clear on who it's going to.
Okay. Feasibility study ambulance services, Mr. Mayor.
E.
Thanks,
Yeah,
John.
so that was just down because the amount had to change because one of the towns dropped out of the.
So Rivervale has dropped out of the study.
No, Old Japan.
Oh, excuse me, Old Japan.
Yes,
So it's Hillsdale Township
and Rivervale.
and Rivervale. Correct. All right.
Did they give a reason?
They did not.
That was for that's why we changed the resolution at the beginning of the meeting to 5,800 versus
Yes.
the 4,000 and change we were
Divided by
originally.
9 now instead of 4.
Correct.
Sherry Field change order, Mr. DiCarlo. I know you had some pictures in there.
Yes, thank you. I did ask, I think Sue, we asked WCTV if they wanted to just put it up so it'd be bigger. I do want to start off by saying thank you to the council for the other 3 change orders that you approved. I promise this will be the last one associated with Calvin. If you look at it, you guys have previously approved, even though it hasn't been done yet, to have the 8-inch reinforced concrete driveway apron.
Currently, there's those ADA parking spots that you see in the picture. The proposed change order would just be to link the two, the anticipated concrete apron and the ADA spots with 400 square feet of asphalt. Just kind of, you see in the lower left corner, the condition of the way everything looks. And it would obviously make things look better, but it'll also be more appropriate for use. If you do that, the cost would be $10,850, and I would pay for it out of the capital line that was approved for Calvin Street. If you remember, you approved a line of $300,000 that we will not have to borrow money because it was money that was in capital surplus. And the Calvin Street project came in at bid at 203, and I'm anticipating it being even less than the 203. So right now there's a balance of about 18,000 and change in that capital line, and I'd be asking to use the 10,008.
It would be a big safety improvement down at Cherry Field with that paved, so I'm in favor of it. Anybody else have any objections to that?
I agree.
Mr. Sears, you okay with it?
I'm good.
Mr. Cash, Mr. Allman? The apron alone is a huge safety improvement, but the apron and the asphalt would be a huge,
So the asphalt that we're proposing, the rest of it is gravel, aside from the,
ADA spots, yes.
Yeah, it's like compacted kind of gravel, dusty, so. Oh, and I should say that we're permitted to do this within, any water there is no water restriction because of the Musquatsink Brook.
yeah. My only question is there an opportunity or is there a need to expand the paving either way?
Even more?
You took the words out of my mouth.
Behind.
I think we end up with wetland and issues.
DEP
issues. The reason the parking lot is all gravel is for a reason. We've asked previous councils. I know I met with Mayor Sopwitz back when, and I know, the impetus of those handicap spaces. Mayor Sopwitz got a grant years ago to install those, and we were worried that asphalt wouldn't trigger something, and at the time, it didn't trigger, but the more we pave, the more we have DEP on our back down there.
But how far could we go?
That's a question for Mr. Beckmeyer to answer, but I don't know if we want to. It gets destroyed by the leaves, even though we're just dumping, leaving the leaves and taking them out the same day. The load is destroyed. So if we pave that,
We don't do that anymore.
No, they go right from truck to.
oh yeah, you're right. Now to
facility.
go truck.
Yeah.
It's a revolving with the truck.
I'm not saying this year, but maybe it's something we
Yeah,
look
we-
at.
So we can look into it.
Can we have Mr. Beckmeyer look into how much we could pave?
Yeah.
If there's
And
money
so
left
if we get
over?
even
Oh,
that
yeah.
one piece
Yeah.
and it doesn't, cause problems for us, then
I don't think it's going to be done before the 22nd, so if I can get that information, I can bring it to you. And
All right, let us
you guys
know.
can tell me.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Lighting ordinance samples. Dr. Casio?
Yeah, well, I asked the council to look into a few that we have, or other municipalities have. She came up with, what was that?
Two models, one that's more detailed standards from the Borough of Saddle River.
Saddle River, that's what it's
And, resulting after hearings, retaining an expert
Yeah.
to
So-
address the issue, and then the more general motif.
Again, this is something that's been brought before the council numerous times when Pete was on council, if he remembers. We probably talked about 3 or 4 times since I've been here for I don't know how long I've been here now. A long time. So I don't know, what you want to do with it, if you want to consider it. I think that the problem with an ordinance is enforcement. The enforceability of it. So.
Who does Saddle River's ordinance put the enforceability to?
I would imagine
I thought it was
the building
if I'm
department,
not
which is
mistaken.
similar here. I suppose what Councilman Casio is talking about is actual getting a conviction, even if you issue a summons.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
it's the summons generator, but is that?
Could
does that
we
make
send
sense?
those 2 examples to the code official to have him look at it, to give us a direction?
see
I
what
mean,
see
they
what
would,
like.
they would know better and give us some guidance on which two might be beneficial for the
Yeah.
town. I mean, one.
Mr. Mayor, are you amenable to that? Can we have the code enforcement officer give us his opinion on which
Enforceability.
which one he thinks is better for his needs if we get complaints about this, and have him review?
My only, I'm happy to do so, but while we're on enforcement, what if, how are we going to force this if the complaint comes in at midnight? That, are we going to send him out? I don't think so. So I would need further guidance.
That's an issue.
Right.
Well,
If he's
he
there,
got cameras, cell phones.
I guess you could do, yeah, but that doesn't show, when you see something on a cell phone.
Because the code officer would have to witness it himself, otherwise the neighbor would have to take the complaint
It's
out.
kind of,
That's okay. The code enforcement officer can issue a complaint summons without showing a probable cause.
Oh,
But
okay.
a member of the public, a neighbor, can go in, swear out a complaint, lay out the facts, and it would just need a probable
That's what Saddle
cause.
River gives him the ability to, right? Or-
Any ordinance can be enforced.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
All right, so could we have him look at both ordinances and see which one he'd be more
Yes.
comfortable with the
Yep.
council?
or hybridize it if you need to.
Yeah, if he wants to meld the two together and has, something.
And then we can decide what we want to do with it.
Okay.
Again, like I said, it's come before this council numerous times.
Yes.
And every time for one reason or another, it doesn't go through, so.
No problem.
Thank you.
Do we have
Thank
a
you very much.
budget to buy the equipment needed? I don't know how much a
Light meters,
candle meter is or a light meter.
they're all different prices, and
I mean,
Do we have one?
I'm sure we don't.
I don't know.
Can we have him investigate which light meter he'd want, Mr. DeCarlo, and get back to us?
Yes.
The one on Amazon that is Prime and
All right, continuing, parking and storage of commercial vehicles and recreational vehicles in residential districts. The planning board, so I don't know if the mayor and Mr. Ullman, our planning board representatives, would like to discuss what the impetus was for the planning board to present this to us.
the
Happy to defer.
the re-examination
correct.
report.
Yep.
So this, it was deemed that there was an issue with commercial vehicles and parking within the township. And this is the response to that.
So this is the board and Mr. Sabino's recommendation on how to address that
Correct.
issue,
So,
And the planner also.
yes.
and the planner.
Yes.
Basically, it's controlling one, recreational vehicles and two, commercial vehicles, and where they can be parked and stored on premise. I think there was.
And how much screening they need also.
Does this include boats?
I think it includes the trailer that the boat would be on, right, Mike? That sound familiar? That it
Could we
includes
ask-
trailers?
It includes trailers on.
But I thought they were
commercial
travel trailers, like, you could live in trailer, not like a.
RVs?
Like RVs, this is mainly for RVs, if you read it. It says motorhomes, campers, and travel trailers, but it doesn't say anything about boats or anything else like that.
So F and G are commercial, so it does address commercial. But it doesn't speak to boats. I don't think that ever came up in our discussions.
Okay, just wanted to make sure it wasn't included. Anybody have any comments for this ordinance?
So the current, with a commercial vehicle, right? I mean, we have a lot of laborers, plumbers, electricians, landscapers. And they all have, like vans, right? That they park in their driveway. And I know we have something on the books for that. Is that what we're really trying to address more than anything else? Or is it really like the RV type of
No, it's definitely, it's RVs, but it's definitely commercial.
Okay.
Because I believe, and the genesis of this predates my time on the council, but I believe there were complaints brought up to the planning board,
Right.
and this was deemed to be the solution. So it talks about the size of the vehicle,
Right.
the restrictions of the vehicle, where they can be parked on premise, so to control that.
Right.
You know, don't want.
Usually on a side yard with a buffer, right?
That's not what it's saying. We really need to read this because
Well, that's,
it's not saying what you guys are asking it to say.
I'm
Because it's basically allowing motorhomes to be parked, but they have to be parked on pavement.
Yeah,
And
I'm trying to grasp, because one of the problems was between a four-wheel vehicle and a six-wheel vehicle, where one of these issues came up.
Box truck?
And, you know, and the guy's, a gentleman happens to be a landscaper, and his truck is a six-wheel vehicle, and he got fined for parking his vehicle on his property. And I think the question came up, like, how do we resolve, this is his livelihood, how do we allow him to do it? Does he park behind a secure fence so it's not seen? Or, you know, how far do we allow, since the town is a blue collar, plumbers, electricians, like Councilman Allen said, it's a lot of type of vehicles. And I don't see that in here.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. This doesn't really address
No.
what I think the problems are. So
No.
we maybe, is it okay if Mr. Sabino and the member, somebody comes back, Mr. Mayor? Is that
I
okay?
think we already had that somewhere.
Well, can we bring it up with them at their next planning board meeting, which is Wednesday night coming?
Yeah, if you guys could discuss it with.
Yeah,
the
that way it doesn't
applicant.
have to wait.
Yeah,
We don't want to jam anybody up
Yeah.
that's
No,
making a
no.
living.
exactly.
No, no, you want to be.
No, we want to be fair.
What is the minimum screen, it says it's gotta be screened, but it doesn't give how it's gonna be screened. Like it's saying, well, it can't be over X amount of feet tall, but then you're saying an RV could have unlimited dimensions on it. So how are you gonna screen that if it's got an unlimited dimension on it?
I think one of the challenges was similar to when the dimensions and the setbacks were done for the lot size, is that leaving it, I guess, generic was felt, they had more latitude to enforce it. So if we're going to say, if you're looking for specificity, like it has to be equal to the height of the vehicle or, a certain.
I would just, if we could ask the planner if there's more, if other ordinances are more specific and provide more details of how to address the issue.
So H is not strong enough?
I apologize, I just went away from H.
Second page, the first bullet. And I'm not disagreeing with you, I just want to make sure that we're not cycling too many times. So every commercial vehicle parked in a residential district shall be screened with fencing or a landscape buffer or both. Such screening shall be designed to shield the commercial vehicle from nearby residences.
Well, and you kind of, you did bring up a good point. A commercial vehicle could be a four-wheel, six-wheel.
Or it could be a tractor trailer,
No,
There is an ordinance, no tractor trailers.
it's set out in F.
Yeah, I know.
So it's set out in F. So
Where's F? I don't have it. I have H.
First page.
It goes before.
Yeah, it goes before, I know.
Long night.
It's a long night, yeah. No commercial vehicle parked in a residence shall exceed the dimensions listed herein. A commercial vehicle shall not exceed 8 feet in width, shall be no higher than 10 feet in height, and shall not exceed 23 feet in overall length.
So there was a big discussion about like Sprinter vans. I think like a base model Sprinter fits within this. but then they have like expanded ones with,
Yeah, like the extended
pop-up
height.
setbacks. They would not qualify. So,
Okay.
we started to go down classifications and it got way too complicated. And I think this was the path of least resistance to set those parameters.
It says every commercial vehicle parked in a residential district shall be screened with fencing or a landscape buffer or both. Such screening shall be designed to shield the commercial vehicle from nearby residences.
But then you screen on one side and then what do you do on the other side? It's your house.
Yeah.
If you have, like, let's say Jackson, for example, everybody's driveway is open. So you can screen one side, but
Yeah, how do you screen
you
both?
can't screen the other.
I'm just going to read from our code, right? Because they define a commercial vehicle displaying any advertising, not limited to commercial lettering, name and/or address of the individual or entity, commercial graphics, or other medium which bears a license plate reflecting or consistent with commercial usage. And then you go down here to the restrictions, what you can have, right? So that, the two have to melt one way or the other. They got to jive, because if one doesn't jive with the other, we're going to have an issue. So that particular portion of the code has to be, considered when we do the master plan.
Yeah, it's got a definition in it already.
It's got a definition in it already. So it talks about, 1,400 pounds, all types of goodies in there. So I
It
just
seems
want
more restrictive the way it's in the.
it's
the
pretty
definition.
restrictive. So I think, when we talk about doing the master plan, we take a look at this portion of the code. So
The code is that number?
that is 3305 to, look at that. Okay. It's 330-3 through all the way down to,
I guess, Mr. Alman, can we discuss the existing ordinance
330-8.
definitions versus what we're trying to adopt here?
Thank
And the ambiguity between the two with the planning board?
Is that for,
that's
don't
for,
think
that's for commercial vehicles.
but that's not, I don't think that's on-site, is it? I think the section of the zone 580 that's being addressed here
Okay.
is off-street, rather. And this has to do with on-street parking, I think, section 330.
So what
Parking of
section?
commercial vehicles in residential areas. If it's on a residential property, that's a residential area.
I think that parking that's regulated in that section, though,
Okay.
is on-street
We
parking.
don't have on-street parking.
Yeah, so it can't be that, right?
Let's-
Parking on posted property.
All right. Guess if we could see if there's any conflicts between the existing and the proposed. With the
I mean,
planning board.
we defined it as a vehicle that's commercially registered.
But they're talking about weights and single axle, dual axle,
Right,
and all that.
that's resident, right?
The existing ordinance talks about weights.
I'm a lawyer, I just played one on the base.
Okay.
All right.
So, Steve, it was,
Steve, can you give them the reference number you get? Put it up.
It's
330.
330.
yeah, chapter 330. It goes
Dash
from
3.
It goes from 331 to 338, or 330-1 to 330.
Okay. The final thing on our agenda is the Town Day Trophy for the Fire Department versus the Police Department tug of war. Mr. Sears,
Hi, yes,
it's
thank
okay
you.
with you? I will donate, I will call Crown Trophy tomorrow, and I will donate the trophy to the event. I will have it made with a big box on the bottom, and
Okay.
so we can list the champions by years.
And you got the guy on the top pulling the rope?
We'll have a guy, well, I'll call Crown tomorrow, and we'll get a couple
Yes.
samples.
Person.
No, it'll be, he'll be a person, yes.
Thank you, sir.
And I'll donate the trophy.
He'll
Thank
be a
you.
person?
All right, we're going into
Person.
closed session for resolution 24-316, 450 Pascack Road. Employment agreement for the police department, potential property acquisition, 660 Pascack Road, 11 Boulevard South, block 4103, lot 14. We will not be coming out of closed session. So motion to enter into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We will go into closed section once Ricky turns off the cameras.